Microsoft first quarter of 2026 fiscal year earnings call. But not only Microsoft, we've got Meta and we've got Google as well. Big night tonight. We just finished the FOMC report with Sensei. We have the main audience joining in. Let me just bear with me for a few seconds before the main audience joins in. We had some good news or bad news? Well, let me know what you think. We had a rate cut of 0.25%. But was the guidance good? Was the guidance bad? Let me know. Let's have a look at the markets before we have the main audience joining us. So what has been going on? We didn't have any big reaction. We have just small reaction on the S&P, currently down. That's not it. That's not it yet. The main numbers, the main move is going to happen after the market close. When the numbers are out, we have Mag 7. We have three companies of the Mag 7, Magnificent 7, the biggest market caps on the whole stock market. Meta, Google, and Microsoft, which we are covering. Once these numbers are out, we could see massive reaction. We also could see Tesla. Those who watched Tesla with me last week, not a very good performance. Thank you very much for joining me. I can see we have the main audience coming in. So you just finished the FOMC report. We are now covering Microsoft first quarter 2026 fiscal year. Don't get confused. It's fiscal year and I will talk about it shortly. I will explain it shortly. It's the same third quarter as every other company. So we have Microsoft tonight. We have Microsoft, Meta, and Google. I literally just talked about it. Thank you everyone for joining me. I will repeat it again. Fed report, 0.25 base percent 0.25% cut. Guidance, was it good? Was it bad? Let me know. You let me know in the chat. Are you happy with the guidance or not? We had slight reaction on the S&P, but not massive. The main move is going to happen in about 20 minutes when the numbers are out. Mag 7, we have Microsoft, Meta, and Google releasing their numbers. If we have bad numbers, we already had Tesla. Tesla didn't provide any good numbers. The reaction was fairly unpleasant on the earnings day. If we have some bad reaction, if we have some bad numbers coming from the Mag 7, this could move the market. And we have 3 of them tonight, and we have 2 more tomorrow. We have tomorrow. I've lost my mouse. Tomorrow we have Amazon and Apple as well, along with Coinbase and MicroStrategy. So that could be another implication on the stock market. So we can now see S&P is slightly recovering, Nasdaq slightly, very slightly up intraday. Crypto doesn't like the FOMC report and the reaction. Bitcoin down 2.11% daily, XRP 0.82, Ethereum 1.9% down, gold slightly down, and silver slightly up. So let's have a look quickly before we get the numbers in. Let's have a look what these 3 companies reporting tonight have been doing. Everyone joining us, thank you very much for joining me. Let me know in the chat what you think of the FOMC report, because I was watching, I didn't read through the chat. So let me know your reaction to the FOMC rate cut and the guidance. Dovish, hawkish, good, bad, let me know. The main reaction is going to come in about 15-16 minutes after market close, when we have release numbers from Microsoft, Meta, and Google. I'll be tracking all of these. Let me know in the chat what do you think, and I will address the chat very shortly. In the meantime, don't forget to hit the like button on your way in, and if you are new to this, subscribe. Costs you nothing, and you'll be up to scratch with all the market news. Sensei just covered the most important event of the year so far, the FOMC report, rate cut 25%, and further guidance by Jerome Powell. So Microsoft currently coming to the closing bell. We can see we had a very good run after August. We were in the higher levels. We hit the all-time high, and we touched it again recently. Currently 539.79. coming to the market close. Meta, what has Meta been doing? Meta, again, if I zoom out, a massive run since April, since the peak of tariff wars. We hit all-time high in August and very close to another all-time high in September. Now it looks like we may have another attempt. If the numbers are good, we could see a good run. Currently, coming to the market close, $754.43. And Google, what Google has been doing? Well, Google has been has been running up since April as well, like mad. You can see all-time high coming to the market close, 275.19. So I'll be tracking this. Let's have a look again what the market is doing. S&P seems to be recovering. Let me offer you the S&P chart as well on the screen. Let me just quickly get this up for you, and we will have a look at the reaction. USA 500. I'm doing this as we speak. I'm doing this live on the show. Wait for the numbers. Wait for the numbers from Microsoft. Wait for the numbers from Meta. Wait for the numbers from Google. This could move the market. This was just this was just a mild reaction currently. I think everyone is now waiting for the numbers coming out tonight. So if I zoom in, let me just zoom in so we can see S&P recently all-time high. We had this reaction on the right, let me zoom in. We had this reaction on the Jerome Powell speech, the rate cut and the guidance. Now we seem to be recovering. So are we gonna have a massive run based on the back of the numbers, or are we going to witness a crash? Both options are possible. Both options are possible. It's not only Microsoft, Meta, and Google tonight. It's also, if you look at the calendar, it's also Amazon, Apple tomorrow, 5th and 6th out of the magnificent 7, the Max 7, the biggest market caps on the stock market, reporting tomorrow as well, 2 more, and then we have Nvidia, the last one. Tomorrow also we have Coinbase and MicroStrategy. These can move the market. So not only tonight, but tomorrow as well. We already witnessed Tesla last week. Not very good numbers. Quite a reaction on the earnings day. So what we've got with the S&P slightly going up. We are pulling fairly long green candle. Let's see, we are about 9 minutes away from the closing bell. I will ring the closing bell and we will see the reaction after the closing bell. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed Sensei's event. Let me just check up with you in the chat. Let's see what the guidance, or no, what the guidance, what your opinion is. Let's see what your opinion is. We have MDL2783 joining us. Let's go. Rhino Skin is here. David Hensley, Sensei send me. Yeah, I know. Joe Trade 90, thank you for joining. Jace UM8PQ, where here there where we was Vaz is here, yeah. Craig Edwards, Fabio Ferreira, does it affect crypto? Well, let's have a look at crypto. What is crypto doing? Currently, it's not affecting crypto as we speak, but let's wait for the market close. Definitely the numbers, the whole market reaction will be affecting crypto. If we have a good run, crypto will be piggybacking on it. If we have a crash, the sentiment will cool off and we can see crypto not crashing, maybe not crashing, but there will definitely be some shift in the sentiment. Rhino Skin says it was neutral. Sensei, smash the like, thank you. Sab is here, thank you for joining. Buy because equities have had good earnings for a long time now. Well, this can easily change tonight. We already could see Tesla, not very good numbers, mediocre guidance. Let's see what the numbers are going to bring us tonight. We have Joe Trade, Crypto 100%. Congratulations. Jenny is here, who requested Microsoft earnings. Congratulations, Jenny. This is your event for you. Joe Trade, the same. Isildur says Microsoft Azure outage, strong sell, very interesting. Joe Trade 90, XRP Army, Sasha Nikolic, hello from Croatia. Dobrodošli. Earnings have been good all over the S&P in the last 2 days. Well, this can fairly change. This can change with Microsoft, Meta, and Google reporting. Why is Bitcoin going down? Though I believe Sensei told you on the previous event, I'm not crypto expert, but Sensei will give you update shortly. We are about 6 minutes away from the closing bell, and then we can see movement. Then it is when the things will start moving. Let's quickly check what the markets are doing. S&P is now recovering and running flat on the daily. Nasdaq 0.25, 0.26, 27 up. Bitcoin still down. XRP 0.72 down. Ethereum still down. Gold down. Silver pushing slightly up. Very interesting. Joe Trade says asleep. He was asleep during the Fed speech. Okay, fair enough. Rhino Skin says, hi Vaz, not seen your pet rat recently. You might see him. You might see him soon. Thank you for mentioning that. Where is Martyn? Martyn is on holiday, says Isildo. Martyn is on holiday. He's 3 weeks away from coming back. Currently, the show is in my and Vaz and Sensei's hands. You could just witness Sensei on the event before. Sensei says 13 minutes until the market moves. Yeah, we are about 5 minutes away. CR2D2 neutral says S Tiger, gold goes up. Joe Trader, buy the dips. It's simple. Study with music. I want to buy Microsoft. Leia, my future wife. Leia, we are freaks. Google, Microsoft Power. Well, you are in the right place. Rob Lambers says hello all. Joe Trade, Walfredo, this guy is awful. How does he have 105k subscribers? Well, it's not me. We have 105k subscribers. If you don't like me, you don't have to watch, but you're gonna miss the big market move tonight. Get Market says, you sound like Czech. Yes, I am Czech. I'm not aware of having a Czech accent, but you are the third person telling me that, so I might be having Czech accent. Yes, thank you. Yolanda says, Sensei, send me. Is DVLT a good buy? I don't know. I can have a look later for you, or Sensei can have a look tomorrow morning. Joe Trade 90 says, Lucas 8 Army. Diamond Hands. Well, we don't really use these terms in here. We are serious investors. We are not bros in a Reddit room, but I appreciate it. Ricardo Vasquez, good afternoon. Banana Heads, internal reference. I love it. And Steven Lewandowski is here with his oil guidance. I don't like investing in LPG tankers companies. BW. I was a steam boiler stationary engineer in my past, but I don't invest in boiler companies. Either like Matador, Oxy, oil. Yes, Stephen, he's our oil expert. He's our oil baron. So if you have any questions, I'm pretty sure Stephen will answer them in the chat for you. Joe Trade says, I'm Scottish living in the Balkans, and greetings from Germany from C. Kyle. So what the market has been doing, we are 3 minutes away from the market closing bell. S&P almost fully recovered. Intraday, on the intraday chart, Nasdaq 0.25 holding up, Bitcoin, XRP slightly recovering, Ethereum still down, gold 0.20 down, silver slightly pushing up. Very, very interesting. Make sure you ring the closing bell, Vaz, says Ricardo Vasquez. Don't worry, I certainly will. Let's have a look at the S&P. You can see this little candle, this little red candle trying to push up. Google, what is Google doing? Go away. Let's zoom in. Let's zoom in on the daily chart, because we will see the reaction. We can have better perception of the reaction. Look at it. Google today, massive run. Let's see what Google is going to do after the market close. We have Meta. Let me zoom in on the daily. On the daily, apologies for the ads. Let me zoom into the daily chart as well. So Meta coming up to the closing bell, and obviously I do apologize for this. I don't know how to remove these notifications and these ads, so bear with me. It won't be coming up back again, hopefully. And Microsoft pushing up to the closing bell. We are about 5-10 minutes away from the numbers coming out. I have everything on standby. I'll be refreshing everything, and you will see the numbers. You will see the market reaction live in here on the screen, on my screen, on your screen. I'll be commenting it for you. Don't worry, you're not gonna miss out on anything. We are about a minute away. So what the market is doing, S&P is almost flat on the daily. No massive move. If we look at the chart, no massive move yet. We are waiting for the numbers, and then we could see a big upside, or we can see a big downside as well. Everything is possible today. Let me just get a bit of tea, and we are coming to the closing bell. We are about 40 seconds away. I'll be ringing it shortly. Don't worry, I'll be ringing it shortly. Microsoft pushing up. Meta, slight bounce down. Let's see what they do after the numbers are out. Google pushing up as well towards the end of the day. S&P still flat. Let's have a look at the whole market. What the whole markets are doing. S&P slightly almost recovered. Nasdaq holding 0.25 up. Bitcoin going down. XRP still holding. Ethereum going down. Gold and silver. Silver is pushing up as well towards the end of the day. And the bell is ringing. We are in the close. And what are the markets doing? So the S&P is pushing up. We have 0.1. Oh, we are pulling nice green candle. Google, no reaction yet. Meta, no reaction yet. Oh, it's pushing up, slowly pushing up. And Microsoft, look at this. That will be pushing up probably even higher. Look at these last two candles. Last 5 minutes, look at these massive green candles. That looks very positive. That looks very positive. Let's wait for the numbers. I didn't show you the charts. Look at it again. Look at these last two candles for Microsoft. Meta pulling green candle as well. Google slightly pushing up, and the S&P slightly up as well. So if we look at the whole market, S&P slightly up, Nasdaq pushing up as well. Bitcoin, XRP and Ethereum, not much of a reaction. Bitcoin actually has been selling off slightly. Gold slightly recovering, and silver is pushing up. So let me quickly check if we have numbers, if the numbers are out. Main focus is on Microsoft, but we are covering all three Max 7 companies reporting tonight. So Microsoft, long green candle again. We have Meta pulling up as well. Google, look at this long green candle as well. Very nice aftermarket close. And the S&P is going up on the back of this as well. So let me quickly check if the numbers are out already. What is going on? Let me quickly check this for you. I've got the conference call on standby. We'll be starting in about 55 minutes, 60 minutes. The numbers for Microsoft are not out yet. The numbers, I'm just checking the numbers for you. I cannot see the numbers for Microsoft out yet. I will explain to you why it's first quarter of... No, this is what I like about Microsoft. Look, Microsoft, Microsoft, right, look at this, Microsoft, yeah, their investor relation page. If I filter, they have the previous earnings. If I filter to the fiscal year 26 and first quarter, and I press go, we are sorry, the page you requested cannot be found. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. That's Microsoft for you, yeah? And that earnings report. Let me just quickly check. If Google is out. Google. It looks like we have the numbers out for Google. So let me check this. And Meta. Bear with me. Meta. numbers not out yet. We've got a webcast available. The numbers for Meta are not out yet. Microsoft numbers are out, and we have a massive red candle. Let's see what is the whole market doing. S&P still holding, Nasdaq holding up. Microsoft, you can see, very, very long red candle. Currently 3% down. There could be slight recovery, but it could follow, it could continue. Look at this, look at this. I wouldn't be buying it now. Meta, the numbers are not out yet for Meta. And Google, look at Google. Look at this massive green candle. That's almost 4% now. Wow. So let me quickly bring the whole market. S&P is steady. Nasdaq slightly retracting. S&P is now flat on the daily. Crypto is still down. Gold is down, and silver has stopped pulling up. So let me just get the numbers for you. Who's first? Well, I think the easiest way will be use the professional software we have here. Microsoft. If I quickly go through the basic numbers, and then I will offer you the reports. Let me refresh this for you, and we can see. No, the numbers are not through yet for Microsoft. Meta. No, it will take a bit of time, so I will try to go through the reports manually. Bear with me. Stand by. Somebody saying Microsoft up. Well, let's have a look. Microsoft. No, Microsoft is not up. Microsoft is just recovering from the bottom we hit now. It can continue. I wouldn't be buying now. This can easily continue if the guidance is bad. Meta. The numbers are out for Meta as well, and this could be a signal. This could be a signal for the S&P retraction and cooling off. So Meta is down, Google is up, now consolidating. I'm working on the numbers for you. In the meantime, Sensei's newsletter, you could see it on the previous show. We've got here Sensei's newsletter. This is our very own product. Sensei compiles this every day for you as your market forecast. You are getting this one. If you are subscribed to the newsletter, you are getting one couple of hours before the market open. You have the quick glance of the top stories of the day. You have one big thing. You have 5 top stories, or you have 5 things of the 5 stories of the day. You have analysis, you have market snapshots. It's interactive. You have media. Look, 5 things to know today. 5 key things to look out for the day. There was a big analysis by Sensei for the FOMC report. US, South Korea finalized trade deal after months of talks. You also have the Fed report. Big tech AI sending showdown. $5 trillion question heads into earnings gauntlet. We also have some crypto update. News on Boeing. Bad news for Boeing coming out yesterday. You have deep dive, big analysis made by Sensei for the Fed's cut. Fed's cut is priced in the language. The language isn't. And you could prepare for today's FOMC report. You could prepare for today's date. There's also mention about the earnings, and I'll give you the link. We have now flash sale. It's only today. It's limited. It's a limited offer. Flash sale only for today. You can have 50% off. And I will show you, it's 12 pounds, so it's about $15 monthly. Is it a lot if you get this? If you get this every day, it's not only today. It's every day. As a 7-day trial as well. You don't have to subscribe, and you don't have to pay for it now. You can try the 7-day trial, see if it works, because you will have full week. You will have from today until end of next week. I also compile one for my Saturday show. Saturday I focus on eVTOLs, advanced air mobility, aerospace, and eventually defense. Just to give you a little teaser what I'm doing. Well, I'm doing this. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this new novel aircraft, new concept. We are talking about flying taxis. We are talking about something very cool and sexy. This could be the new electric vehicle market. This could be the new Tesla. So this is what I'm talking about. You are getting one newsletter for Saturday as well. So in the chat, there is a flash sale link for you. And if you do your annual subscription, it costs you monthly. The cost is of a cup of coffee. It's not even Starbucks coffee, is it? Because Starbucks is much more expensive, and you get the full package. As I said, every day you're going to get your daily forecast for the market, and also on Saturday you get update on the new market, which we think will be massive in the next decade. So what is Google doing? The initial reaction has cooled off. Now we are at 288.98. 289.25. Meta, look at this. Meta numbers are out and it still hasn't recovered. Doesn't like it. And Microsoft slightly recovering, but it's not looking optimistic. So out of these three Max 7 players, we had two misses, or we had two negative reactions. S&P doesn't like it either. We are 0.3% down. What the whole market is doing, you can see S&P is down, Nasdaq is cooling off, crypto is down generally. It doesn't like the current. It doesn't like it today. Basically, gold going down, and silver has stopped its push up. So let me check the numbers for you. Let's bring up Microsoft first. Let's see if we can get access to their filing finally. So 2026, I will show it to you on the screen. Yeah, 2026 first quarter, go, and the page should be available now. Is it or is it not? Oh, that's very climactic. There we go. So earnings release, fiscal year 2026. Let me put it on the other screen. Let's have a look what Microsoft has been doing. Microsoft, look, a red candle. This can go down. This can go down. Let's wait for the actual earnings call. It starts in about 49 minutes. Starts about 48 minutes. Let me just check something. We've got link from Bloomberg as well. This might be good guidance for us as well. Let's have a look. Let's check it out. What Bloomberg is saying. Let me get this on the screen for you.
15.9%. The street was
in the meantime, I'll go through the filing and I'll give you the numbers.
Now, really quickly, boosting their full-year subscription revenue forecast, also beating estimates when it comes to the look-back. Subscription revenue now seen between $12.84 billion to $12.85 billion. The previous guide was
quick update from Bloomberg. They've got all the numbers on all screens. I've got only one screen, so I'm working through it one by one.
Now, when it comes to that full-year subscription revenue.
All right, so Microsoft down 3.3%. You've got Alphabet up about 3.5%, and you've got Meta down about 5.7%. So those are big ones that we'll keep a watch on as we go into those calls with analysts and investors. Folks, that's a wrap. Across platform, radio, TV, YouTube, Bloomberg Originals, Katie and Romain continuing there on the close on BTV, and right here on radio, Tim and I continuing on Bloomberg.
There we go. There's the guidance. Nothing on Microsoft yet. So let me just put this on the background. I'm listening. When they start talking, ads. We have commercial break now. So when they start talking about Microsoft, I'll bring it on the screen. In the meantime, let's have a look at the numbers. So what we've got here from Microsoft. Microsoft Cloud and AI strength drives first quarter results. Microsoft Corporation today announced the following results for the quarter ended September the 30th. As compared to the corresponding period of last fiscal year, revenue was 77.7 billion and increased 18%, up 17% in constant currency. Operating Operating income was 38 billion and increased 24%, up 22 in constant currency. Net income on a GAAP basis was 27.7 billion and increased 12%. On a non-GAAP basis was 30.8 billion and increased 22%, which is up 21% in constant currency. Diluted earnings per share on GAAP basis was 3.72 and increased 13%, and on a non-GAAP basis 4.13 and increased 23%. So currently, so far it looks good. Let's read through it. Further. Non-GAAP results exclude the impact from investments in OpenAI, explained in the non-GAAP definition section below. So we will get to it. Let me just quickly read this statement for you. We will quickly go through the numbers and we'll move on to Meta and Google. What is Microsoft doing? Currently consolidating around $521-$22. Meta cooling off as well. The initial reaction. Google slight retraction after the first reaction as well. 288.53. The S&P slightly recovering. Let's see when we start hearing the guidance for these Mag 7 players. So, quick statement from Microsoft. Our planet-scale cloud and AI factory together with Copilots across high-value domains is driving broad diffusion and real-world impact, said Satya Nadella, chairman and CEO of Microsoft. It's why we continue to increase our investments in AI across both capital and talent to meet the massive opportunity ahead. We delivered a strong start to the fiscal year, exceeding expectations across revenue, operating income, and earnings per share, said Amy Hood, Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer of Microsoft. Continued strength in the Microsoft Cloud reflects the growing customer demand for our differentiated platform. Now we have some numbers. So 2024, as reported, net income GAAP 24.5 billion, 22.667 billion. Diluted earnings per share 3.30. Impact from investments in OpenAI 523 million and 0.07 per share. As adjusted, non-GAAP 25.19 billion and earnings per share 3.37. 2025 as reported is up 27.747 billion and earnings per share 3.72. And non-GAAP 2025 we have an upside as well, 30.833 billion and earnings per share for $4.13. Percentage year over year, you can see massive growth in here in all metrics. Business highlights: Microsoft Cloud revenue was 49.1 billion and increased 26%, up 25% in constant currency, and commercial remaining performance obligation increased 51% to 392 billion. So there's more news to it. Let me bring up Meta and Google. Let's go through Meta now because it was negative as well. Let's see what the stocks are doing. S&P currently flat, waiting for further guidance. Google slightly pushing up. Meta started pulling red candle again, and Microsoft seems to be recovering from the initial reaction. Let's wait for the further guidance. Let's wait for the earnings call. The actual calls will be starting in about 45 minutes. In the meantime, let me have a bit of tea. In the meantime, hit the like button if you like this content. Subscribe because we are covering most of earnings. We are covering special events. We are covering most of the Fed events as well. Sensei just brought you the cut rates, Jerome Powell's speech, literally before this event. So we are bringing you a lot of conferences as well. Sensei does a lot of crypto conferences, interviews, you name it. So if you subscribe, you are not missing out on anything. Meta. Let's have a look. We have. Do we have the numbers? Do we have the guidance? Not yet. So no, we do have it. I just can't find it. There we go. Financials, quarterly earnings, webcast. Is it the right one? Let me just quickly check. That is not. Bear with me. I'm just trying to dig it out live as we speak. In the meantime, I will tell you what I'm going to do in the meantime. In the meantime, I will give you Bloomberg to talk for me for a bit so I can focus, because I'm struggling to do multiple things. So let me just bring you the experts.
The previous quarter. For Microsoft, it was 39. It's still at 39. But there are different bases. That one's, Microsoft is running at about 75 to $80 billion in annual run rate. Google Cloud is still at 30%, and yet Azure growth is higher than Google's cloud growth. So I think people are probably just splitting hairs at this point.
Yeah, and you referenced that when you were answering my question, you referenced the outage.
I can't find Meta earnings on their website yet. So let's go over to Google.
Outage, so we should know that. Yeah, just cloud companies are cloud companies, and sometimes it's AWS that has the outage, sometimes it's Microsoft that has the outage. Hey, the OpenAI question. We talked a lot about this with you yesterday, and I imagine that on the call, investors will have a lot of questions about this close to 30% ownership of OpenAI, the parent company of ChatGPT. What is that going to do for Microsoft?
See, I think from our side, the equity part is not what, for our concern. It's really the technology that Microsoft is holding on to. That's really the critical piece, because, one of the ways we think about is they will sell more products. They will sell more cloud services using that technology than they would just on the, share side of it. And that's a bigger thing for us, because they have, a hold of that for the next 7 years.
Hey, one of the things I want to ask you, and I know this isn't typically your coverage, but you're smart and you cover all things technology. But Meta down almost 8% here in the aftermarket. As you see this, what's this one-time tax charge? I guess we're still trying to figure this out. But is it all about that, or is it just that we were caught off guard?
Let's put them on standby for now. Alphabet, we've got Alphabet guidance and results. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at that. Alphabet today announced financial results for the quarter ended September the 30th. Consolidated Alphabet revenues in third quarter 2025 increased 16% or 15% in constant currency year over year to 100.2 billion. Google Search and other, YouTube ads, Google subscription platforms and devices, and Google Cloud each delivered double-digit growth in third quarter. That's good, because we are getting paid. Martyn is getting paid. Martyn is loving it. Definitely. That's probably the reason why Google is currently up as well. What we've got else? Google services revenues increased 14% to 87.1 billion, reflecting robust performance across Google Search and other Google subscriptions, platforms and devices, and YouTube ads. Google Cloud revenues increased 34% to 15.2 billion, led by growth in Google Cloud Platform across core products, AI infrastructure and generative AI solutions. Total operating income increased 9% and operating margin was 30.5%. That's fairly high, including the 3.5 billion charge related to the European Commission fine. Operating income increased 22% and operating margin was 33.9%, benefiting from strong revenue growth and continued efficiencies in the expense base. What else we've got here from Google? Other income reflected a net gain of 12.8 billion, primarily the result of net unrealized gains on our non-marketable equity securities. Net income increased 33%. Earnings per share and earnings per share increased 35% to 2.87. So that is why Google had this reaction after the numbers went out. With the growth across our business and demand from cloud customers, we now expect 2025 capital expenditures to be in range of 91 billion to 93 billion. We have comment from the CEO. Let me just read this out for you, and then we're going to have a look at the numbers, and we're going over to Meta. The last of the Mag 7 reporting tonight, the last of the market mover. Alphabet had a terrific quarter with double-digit growth across every major part of our business. We delivered our first ever 100 billion quarter, said Sundar Pichai, CEO of Alphabet and Google. Our full stack approach to AI is delivering strong momentum, and we are shipping at speed, including the global rollout of AI overviews and AI mode in search in record time. In addition to topping leaderboards, our first-party models like Gemini now process 7 billion tokens per minute, wow, via direct API used by our customers. The Gemini app has now over 650 million monthly active users. Wow, 650 million monthly active users. That's a lot. We continue to drive strong growth in new businesses. Google Cloud accelerated, ending the quarter with $155 billion in backlog. That's a massive number. And we have over 300 million paid subscriptions led by Google One and YouTube Premium. I have YouTube Premium. Let me know. Do you have YouTube Premium? And is it worth it? Let me know, because I was reluctant when I was avoiding it for a long time. Is it worth it to you to have YouTube Premium? Let me know in the chat. We are investing to meet customer demand and capitalize on the growing opportunities across the company. And we have some numbers. So revenue 88.268 billion on the previous year. The third quarter of previous year, currently 102.346 billion. Change in revenues year over year 16%. Change in constant currency revenues year over year 15%. Operating income is up to 31.228, and the operating margin is 31%, slightly lower compared to the previous third quarter, but the numbers are good. Other income and expense in net is 12.759 billion, and net income 34, almost 35 billion. Diluted earnings per share 2.87 compared to the previous period of to the same period of previous year, 2.11. We have some more number. Google search and other. We have some revenue coming from certain ventures of the business, certain branches of the business. So Google search and other is up 56.5 billion. YouTube ads 10.261 from the previous third quarter, almost 9 billion. Google network is slightly down. Google advertising as a whole is up. You can see the numbers. Google services in total 87.52 billion. Google Cloud is up. Other bets are slightly down, but you can see the numbers. It looks very, very good. Operating income from Google services is up about 10%. Google Cloud is up massively, and other bets in general, total income from operations 31.228 compared to the previous third quarter 28.5 billion. So these are some interesting number. Let's have a look at Bloomberg, what they are talking about. We might hear some further guidance and some further advices.
It's doing that on the conference call.
I'll bring up the Meta numbers as well.
Talking about it without even having it. Oftentimes we wait for the call to get more information, but in this case, like forward guidance coming from the call, it's kind of a moot point.
Well, the disconnect and the dichotomy that exists between companies and Wall Street is that companies plan for 1, 3, and 5 years, and Wall Street wants to measure everything on a quarterly basis. I mean, the guidance, it's somewhat important, but you wanted to see consistent growth driven by their investments in technology, the adoption and use of their technology that creates their competitive advantage. And those are the key things to look at. And we are in the first inning of the World Series of AI-driven global economic growth. And this trend is going to continue, and it's going to be powerful, and it's going to be game changing. And I think that AI is going to enhance and create many more jobs than it will eliminate.
Going back to the cost thing, though, for Meta, I'm just that operating margin, 40% for the third quarter, down from 43% last year. Is that worrisome, or you think manageable?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, we've looked at companies that have had huge growth trajectories while their margins were contracting. In fact, Amazon doesn't focus on margin, they focus on revenue growth. They don't focus on return on capital, actually, which is one of the key things we focus on, but they do drive a huge return. So, there are times where your gross margin can contract, but your economic margin can increase. And that is the economic margin is the difference between return on capital and cost of capital. That is the most powerful driver of shareholder value creation. So it's not so much important about what happens with gross margin. In fact, I've seen many companies.
Right, let's put them on standby. We have numbers. I couldn't find this somehow. I couldn't find this on their official website, but I found it now. So Meta reports third quarter 2025 results. So let's have a look at Meta, the last Mag 7 player reporting tonight. What is Meta doing? Let's have a look at the chart as well. Meta is touching the support. It might break through. If it breaks through, we can see a bigger candle, bigger red candle. We can see a bigger reaction further down. So what is Meta saying? Meta platform today reported financial results for the quarter ended September the 30th. We had a strong quarter for our businesses and community, said Mark Zuckerberg, Meta founder and CEO. Meta Superintelligence Lab is off to a great start as we continue to lead the industry with AI glasses. If we deliver even a fraction of the opportunity ahead, then the next few years will be the most exciting period in our history. Very interesting. Numbers are here on the screen with you. Let me just get this to the center. Right, numbers are there for you. Revenue 51.242 billion compared a change of 26% compared to the previous quarter of last year, to the same quarter of last year. Cost and expenses up 32% to 30.707 billion. Income from operations 20.5 billion. We are up 18% year over year. Operating margin is 40%, slightly down from the previous third quarter, but still high. 40% is high. Provision for income taxes 18.954 billion, massively up from the previous year. Effective tax rate 87%. Net income 2.708 billion. We are down 83%. We will get deeper into it. Diluted earnings per share, $1.05. Previous quarter, $6.03. So let's see what guidance we have. We expect a significant reduction in our US federal cash tax payments for the remainder of 2025. The future years, due to the implementation of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. However, the implementation also led to the recognition of valuation allowance against our US federal deferred tax assets. reflecting the impact of the US corporate alternative minimum tax. As a result, the third quarter 2025 provision for income taxes includes a one-time non-cash income tax change of $15.93 billion. Excluding this one-time tax exchange, our third quarter 2025. So there you go. That explains the numbers. Effective tax rate would have decreased by 73 percentage points to 14% compared to the reported effective tax of 87%. Net income would have increased by 15.93 billion to 18.64 billion compared to the reported net income of 2.71 billion. So that explains why the numbers are so low. Diluted earnings per share would have increased by $6.20 to $7.25 per share compared to the reported diluted earnings per share $1.05. Third quarter 2025 operational and other financial highlights. Let's quickly just go through this and we will focus on the whole story tonight. Let's see what the markets are doing. S&P flat, going sideways. Nasdaq slightly up but flat in the last few minutes. Bitcoin, XRP slight recovery, Ethereum as well. Gold going sideways and silver slightly pushing up. So let's see the notes from Meta as well. Family daily active people was 3.5 billion on average for September 2025, an increase of 8% year over year. So almost half the world's population is using Meta. Wow, that's mad. Ad impressions delivered across our family of apps increased by 14% year over year. Average price per ad increased by 10% year over year. Revenue was 51.24 billion, an increase of 26% year over year. Revenue on a constant currency basis would have increased 25% year over year. Cost and expenses. Total costs and expenses were 30.71 billion, an increase of 32% year over year. Capital expenditures, including principal payments on finance leases, were 19.37 billion. Capital return program, share repurchases of our Class A common stock were 3.16 billion, and total dividend and dividend equivalent payments were 1.33 billion. Do we have any Meta investors? Let me know what is your dividend. If you are getting any dividend, what was your latest dividend? Let me know in the chat and I'll come back to you in the very minute. As soon as I finish reading through these notes, I'll come back to you and we can talk about it together. What was your latest dividend on Meta? Cash equivalents and marketable securities were 44.45 billion as of September the 30th, 2025. Cash flow from operating activities was 30 billion and free cash flow was 10.62 billion. Headcount was 78,450 as of September the 30th, an increase of 8% year over year. Right, we have some more comments. Let's get back to the markets. Let's see what the stocks are doing. Meta slightly recovering. It didn't break through the support, but let's see when we start hearing the guidance for 2024. What the for fourth quarter 2025, what the guidance is going to be. Google. Still holding on these previous levels of after the initial reaction up, and Meta still holding. I didn't show you Microsoft. This is the one. Microsoft is slightly recovering, so the investors are digesting the numbers, and we can see Microsoft recovering, and we can see the S&P. The S&P is trying to push up. You can see this beautiful trend line in here, and I wouldn't be surprised if we keep copying this trend line slightly up, bit by bit, candle by candle. So the S&P is trying to get up. That's a good sign. There's no overreaction on tonight's numbers yet. However, tomorrow we are also covering, as you can see on the screen, we are also covering Amazon, Apple, Coinbase, and MicroStrategy. If you want, I'm not telling you which ones we are covering yet, but if you want to lock in your favorite company, you can do it now. It costs you a $10 super chat, and you have guaranteed, same as Jenny did last night. She locked in Microsoft, and I have no doubt we will see some very interesting numbers, very interesting guidance. So if you want us to lock in, or if you want to lock in your stock, you have Amazon, Apple, Coinbase, MicroStrategy. We also have Reddit. We have much more, but I think these will be the most important and most interesting. Amazon, Apple, Coinbase, MicroStrategy. It will cost you a tenner, and you are locked in with your earnings. Those who just joined, we are covering Microsoft earnings. It's fiscal year first quarter 2026. It's basically the third quarter. They have just fiscal year set up differently. There's no difference to it. They are reporting the same third quarter as Meta and Google tonight. We had some interesting numbers. We now see the S&P slightly flat. Google had a big reaction. We had 7%. Wow, 7% growth, 7% up. That is big. Meta, not happy with the numbers. Let's wait for the guidance. Investors are not happy with the numbers. Microsoft, on the other hand, seems to be recovering. So let's wait for the guidance. The S&P currently flat. I think everything is waiting for the guidance. Tomorrow, we will have the same day. Tomorrow, we can have the same reaction. We have Amazon, Apple, and we have two biggest crypto companies, part of the S&P 500 as well. We have Coinbase and MicroStrategy. This can move the market tomorrow as well. In the meantime, I know I've already invited you to subscribe to Sensei's newsletter. One more chance for you, because while I'm selling this, it says unique flash sale offer for you, and it will be finished. It'll be gone. It's now in the chat below. It'll be gone after this event. So if your unique opportunity to subscribe to Sensei's newsletter for half the price. I mean, it's already cheap as it is, and you could tomorrow. That's a good point, Vaz. It's a good thinking. Tomorrow, I'm thinking for Sensei now. Tomorrow, you will get analysis and reaction of what you are going to hear tonight. So we are covering Microsoft. We cannot cover all three. So we are not covering Meta and Google, but you will see it in the newsletter made by Sensei tomorrow. There'll be analysis, there'll be numbers, there'll be market reaction, what to do next. I'm pretty sure Sensei might show you. I wouldn't be surprised if Sensei shows you his chart analysis as well for all three. And also, there'll be preview of tomorrow's earnings as well. There'll be preview of Amazon, Apple, Coinbase, and MicroStrategy. Also, analysis of Powell's speech, of the Fed report, and the rate cuts as well. So let's go back to the chat. Let's have a chat with you. Let's see what you are telling me. What were your thoughts? So where did we wrap it up? 1 minute. Yes, we rang the bell. Silver is used in manufacturing. That's why, says Media Alui. Ricardo Vasquez. Yes, I did ring it. Gold, way less. I have a big chunk in BW LPG, says move the product. Get Market is greeting me in Czech. Joe Trade 90, everything is crashing by the dips. Woods and Waters Outdoors. I always struggle to read your name. That's why, yes, I did ring it. Yeah, sorry, I put it. I remember I didn't put the chart. I didn't put the right screen didn't put the right scene on the screen, but I showed it to you later. That's better. Yes. Zach is here. Oh yeah, Zach is here. See the trees, Google moving, Google boom. Yes, that was a massive reaction, massive upside. I wouldn't be surprised if it continues tomorrow. Joe Trade 90, good night everyone. Microsoft dip, says Panda, pow. Microsoft crash, yes, we covered it. Google rocket, Microsoft app. See the trees, after hours Titanic ships and rocket ships. The hedge, sorry, I can't read your name. The earnings came out for all. Yeah, I managed to find it. However, Meta, I couldn't find Meta on their website. There's only a link to the webcast. Interesting. I've never seen this before. Joe Trade 90. Martyn, your army is still here. Yes, Martyn is enjoying his holidays, but Martyn is watching as well. Thank you for watching, Martyn. Hopefully, Martyn, you didn't forget to drop your like and subscribe. Yeah, thank you. And everyone else, on your way in and on your way out, don't forget to hit the like button. That's not that we are begging for likes, but the more likes we get, the more YouTube pushes this event out. The more this event is promoted, the more people come in, the more investors we gather, and the better sentiment we can have, the better we can feel about the market emotions and the sentiment. Sensei says flash sale when Vaz ends show. Yes, I think it's definitely worth it. I mean, I'm part of the newsletter, so I have access to it. Obviously, I know the guy who's doing the newsletter, and I know the guy who's doing the newsletter on Saturday as well. But if I didn't have access to it, I would have definitely been subscribed. And the yearly subscription is the cheapest one. If I show you this, I mean, look at this. It's your annual £45. So it's about what, $55? If you divide it by 12 months, that's, I'm just spitballing numbers. That's $4 something. That's not a Starbucks coffee. Starbucks coffee costs you even more. So look at it. For the cost of one coffee in Starbucks, or even less, you can have your full market prediction every day made by Sensei, and some new interesting market as well, which we think will have a massive upside. Think of a new electric vehicles. Think of a new Tesla. That's what I'm covering on my Saturday's newsletter with my Saturday live show. So you will not miss this out. If you are still unsure, you can still do your 7-day trial. Costs you nothing because it's literally for free. Microsoft Meta tanking, says Jay Dubai. Sorry, I can't read your name. It's too congested. Fabio Ferreira, Meta earnings per share missed for 80%. Beep. Yes, we know why now. We know because of the tax implication. Meta is out now. Yes, we covered it. Why did Microsoft crash? Well, you saw the numbers. It's recovering now. Let's wait for the guidance. That is when we see the movement. This could easily recover. If we hear good guidance, if we hear some positive news, this can very easily recover. I've seen many earnings where there was initial reaction, 5-6% crash on the numbers out, and then it recovered as they started talking. And also, very important part, Q&A, the Q&A. That is the most important part because it's unscripted. What the company is giving you on the earnings call is pretty much scripted and structuralized. But what is on the Q&A, it's to a certain degree, it's unscripted. So that's something the company sort of, it's unprompted, it's unique, and you can usually get a lot of indication and guidance on the company sentiment, on the direction they are going, and a lot of news. Jenny says estimate was 3.66. Watching Jerome Powell is about as exciting as watching ice melt, says Rob Lambers. Knocking star eBay. eBay didn't report their earnings. Jacob Klein says I have YouTube Premium for about 10 years. Yes, it's worth it. Well, I agree now. Since I bought it, I've had it for 2 months or 3 months, and I agree it is worth it. Maybe because these stocks are up faster and higher than ever. Surprise, surprise, profit taking, says Songs for Space. And Meta was 430 in April. It almost doubled. Yes. Does it mean Meta paid a huge tax of 83% on their earnings, says Sasha Nikolic. Yep. Yeah. They will talk about it on their earnings call, and definitely Sensei will explain it in his newsletter tomorrow. And is it showing how overbought these stocks are, says C. Marty. I can bring up the RSI on the charts. Apple Backmas is thanking me for whatever. You are welcome. I've lost the trail. What is each stock doing? Well, the S&P is pushing up very slightly. Google looks like we might see an upside on the guidance, on the earnings call. Meta slightly recovering. I think this is the bottom. We hit the bottom at 684. Looks like we might be recovering. And Microsoft, look at it. Microsoft initial reaction, crash of, what was it, 5.5%, and now we are recovering and we are almost flat to the market close. We are only $8 away. So how about that? I think we are covering the right event tonight. So what the markets are doing in general, we are about 10 minutes away. We are about 10 minutes away from the actual earnings call. So stand by. Let me get a bit of tea. Stand by. S&P intraday flat. Nasdaq slightly up, but not moving any massively. Bitcoin, XRP, and Ethereum slightly recovering. Do you want me to show the chart? Let me know in the chat if you want me to show any chart. We have about 10 minutes, so I will show you charts live. If you want any crypto, if you want gold, silver, let me know in the chat and I will pop it on the screen for you. Silver continues pushing up and gold is still down. So let's check on our friends from Bloomberg if we have any more news and guidance.
This is how it's going to be, right? We'll look for some more news, certainly on this when it comes to Meta and all of them. Kurt, thank you. Right now, Meta shares down about 7.2%.
Kurt, we're coming to visit you next week.
Next time we'll give you a warning, but look at how well you did, even without that warning.
No, we really are. We're going to Denver next week. We're going to see Kurt there.
I hope so.
We will.
Kurt Wagner, senior tech reporter covering social media at Bloomberg News.
There we go. There are your numbers on the screen by Bloomberg as well. S&P unchanged. S&P is pretty much flat now. Nasdaq up 55% after the market close. Right, we are getting first requests. We are getting first requests for stocks. So C. Marty is saying what SUE is up to. Seems to be more volatile than most at the moment. And Microsoft Tro says Microsoft just had a major DNS outage for Azure and 365. Should be interesting. Yes, definitely. C. Marty says SUI. So let's have a look at that. You can see further updates. The FTSE, which is the London Stock Exchange, is up 0.61. Canada is down. Germany is down. SUI. I'm looking for your stock. SUI. SUI, is it crypto? Let me know. SUI, if I zoom out. Oh, that's very volatile. I tell you what, if you join Sensei tomorrow morning and ask him nicely, are you a member? Yes, you are a member. If you ask Sensei tomorrow, he will have a look. He can have a look at the stock chart for you as well. Am I pulling up the right crypto? Yeah. SUI. I want to do this, don't I? Wow, that's even more volatile. Wow. Okay. Well, if you join Sensei tomorrow morning, ask him nicely. He might have a look for you in the at the chart as well, and he might do a full chart analysis for you. So here are some numbers coming from Bloomberg. So I will leave it on the screen for now. Let's see if the webcast is available now. Microsoft as the right chart. Okay. I tell you what, join Sensei tomorrow morning. Ask him nicely, and he should be able to have a look at this chart for you. I'm just trying to pull up the actual earnings broadcast, the actual earnings webcast, because I closed it in the meantime. We are about 7-8 minutes away from the webcast. Right, we have commercial break as always. I think we should start doing commercial breaks as well. I will ask Martyn if we can have commercial breaks. He's gonna love it. He's gonna love it. Right, let me bring this up. Investor relations, annual report announcements, 29th October. No, first quarter results webcast. What is Bloomberg saying?
Yeah, Nvidia, I suppose, but lots of companies. Let me just look at Nvidia in the aftermarket to see it's up another 0.5% here in the aftermarket.
I'm Tim Stenevec, along with Carol Masser. Let's take a look at some stocks on the move today. We're joined by Bloomberg News cross-asset reporter Emily Grafeo. Emily, a lot moving in the after hours.
We have a lot of the big tech stocks reporting earnings. So let's start with Microsoft, ticker MSFT. This stock was down as much as 4% in after hours. Now it's only down about 2.5% in just the first hour of the post market. The earnings, EPS and sales were above estimates, and then the cloud service revenue did beat the average analyst estimate. So revenue for the first quarter, $77.6 billion versus estimates of about 75. The EPS also came in above. I mean, overall here, the stock is down, but when you consider the headlines that we're getting out of some other tech companies for this earnings, I would say so far so good for Microsoft.
First quarter, as you said, cloud. First quarter, Azure and other cloud revenue, right, ex currency, up 39%. The estimate was 37.1%. Our own Anurag Rana saying that's a good number.
He did, yeah. He's out with a note,
chart
and he's
for
going to be
you.
listening
That's
on this
Meta.
call. But out with a note right now, it says Microsoft's fiscal first quarter capital spending, including leases, came in at $34.9 billion, much higher than consensus $30.1 billion. And though this metric may raise concern for some, we see it as a signal of rising AI workload demand. That number's good news to Anurag and the team.
And I guess as long as the demand is there, right? All
right, let's put them on standby for now. I've got an update. The actual earnings call, the actual event starts in 34 minutes. So they are starting a bit late. We might be able to catch beginning of Meta or Google first half an hour before Microsoft starts. So which one are we going to focus on? Let's find this. Meta. Let's find out. Oh, Meta has finally their press release and the presentation on their website as well. That's good. So Meta is starting.
Full year spending on capital expenditures, $91 billion to $93 billion.
Meta has already started. And Alphabet. I think I would like to see Google because it's got massive upside. So let's have a look at Google. If we have the webcast, when is the webcast starting? Well, we've got Google, so we've got about 30 minutes. Would you like me to play you Google first 30 minutes of the Google earnings or not? Hang on. April. Oh, sorry, that's Hang on, I brought up the wrong thing. I brought up the one from April. Bear with me. Webcast starts in at. Hang on. Where is the webcast? Webcast here. So, Google Webcast. Let me just register. And see when we are starting. Okay, put on the
Different that they
screen.
didn't like that versus Google's, but yeah, I mean, it's a bit
meantime-
confusing here to see the
Thanks,
stock
everyone,
down
for getting settled.
on this news.
Right,
event.
we are getting-
Alphabet, obviously.
Right, we are getting the Alphabet webcast through. So I will play it for first 30 minutes, and then I will get to Microsoft earnings. Right. Let me put this on the screen for you.
Involve a number of risks and uncertainties that could cause actual results to differ materially. Please refer to Alphabet's Forms 10K and 10Q, including the risk factors discussed in its Form 10K filing. Any forward-looking statements that Mr. Kurian makes are based on assumptions.
Oh, hang on. No. I've got something wrong. What's...
Thomas Kurian joins
That's a conference.
Google Cloud as
No,
CEO
sorry.
in November
My apologies.
2018,
Back to Bloomberg.
5% year.
Right.
I've
in
messed this up
2025.
slightly.
Could
That's
be
a
weighing on the
conference
stock
from previously.
as well,
So let's
that they're reading
keep
headlines
looking
about
for
a tax charge and these headlines
can't you just
about
have it simple?
expenses increasing. So at least for the
I'll
post
tell you
market,
what, I'm
that
quite
stock is
struggling
down
tonight. I'm
after those
struggling with
earnings.
I
Meta.
will say,
I'm
too, we're
struggling
getting
with
some calls on the live
Microsoft
blog.
website.
Assuring analysts on the call
that
it
wasn't
still
as straightforward
expects
either.
Significant cash tax savings for the remainder of the year, despite
I know
the
I can't
hefty
find Google.
tax charge.
Earnings, third quarter. That's my fault. No, that's my fault. I'm being
They are
numpty.
talking about
So Google is starting
Zuckerberg signaling that Meta may have some
the
news
same
coming
time.
on its AI
So
models and
Google
products,
is 30 minutes
saying
away.
that his team has been heads
Meta
down
is
working on
30
the
minutes
next
away,
generation,
and
that he's looking forward
Microsoft
to
is
sharing
30
more
minutes
on that
away.
over
So
the
we
coming
have
months. For those who are on radio
no
right
other
now,
option.
Tim is playing around with his glasses.
Because that's what Mark Zuckerberg thinks the future is. He may have renamed the company Meta Platforms, but he's really leaning into augmented reality and virtual reality.
Meta
with these
Ray-Bans.
Meta Ray-Bans, yeah. Called it out in the release.
Yeah.
You're not wearing them.
The S&P is going sideways currently. Let's see what the others are doing. Google still up, very good. Waiting for further guidance. Meta seems to be pulling down again. Microsoft, are we going to recover? Well, we seem to be breaking this little upside and going sideways. I think everyone is waiting for the guidance. Everyone is waiting for the actual webcast for the actual investors. The actual earnings call. Sorry. I was just gonna play Bloomberg, but guess what? Commercial break. So I'm not going to play Bloomberg for you. We are waiting. We are on standby. Who we've got in the chat? Craig Edwards says you are having a binky bonk moment. Yes, I'm having a bit. What we can offer you is our poll. In the chat, we have a poll for you, and I'll be closing this one in. Microsoft earnings call is about 30 minutes away. 30 minutes away. It starts on the half hour. We have a poll running in the chat. So if you go there, you have last 5 seconds to have your say. Microsoft, is it buy, hold, or sell? Or undecided. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm closing it now. So let's have a look what your sentiment is. Let's have a look. 52% saying buy, hold is 20%, undecided 17%, and sell 11%. We had almost 500 votes. And this is why I'm saying it's important to like the video and promote it. You don't have to promote it. You don't have to share it. Just like the video. Once we hit 100 likes, YouTube will start promoting and pushing it out. The more people we get, the more people take part in these polls. The more people engage in chat with you, and the more you can feel the sentiment of the investors. So it's not, yes, it's appreciation of our work as well. If you like it, we are not pushing you, we are not forcing you, we are not twisting your hand. This is for you as well. This is for your own benefit. And you can have a look. 493 people, almost 500 people. That's a good specimen. It's a very good specimen. Cedar Tree says Google needs to hold 287 here. to keep these gains? Well, let's have a look what Google is holding. So Google needs to hold in Cedar Tree's eyes. We need to hold this support. Yes, I agree. I think we will go slightly sideways, and tomorrow it can go up again. So what is Bloomberg doing? We had Donald Trump. Ooh, we have update from Donald Trump's trip to China.
So good evening. You laid it out there. The stakes could not
that will be moving the markets tomorrow.
South Korea. Now, we are widely expecting that there will be an extension when it comes to the trade truce currently in place and set to expire on November 10th. And that's seemingly in exchange for a pullback in some of the recent escalations that have happened in the weeks leading up to this. That includes Bloomberg News confirming that China has begun to purchase U.S. soybeans, though the numbers as of now are relatively small compared to the nearly $12.6 billion worth of imports they did last harvest season alone. Also, according to the Treasury Secretary, Beijing will delay its newly unveiled export curbs on critical and rare earth minerals. And the U.S. is taking some similar steps, too, taking off the table, it appears, some threatened but not yet imposed restrictions when it comes to things like critical software and cloud computing. Now, I mentioned there could be an extension to the trade truce. We could also see a reduction in the tariffs that are currently in place. President Trump suggesting as much himself, saying that he could lower the 20% tariff that is linked specifically to fentanyl, as both sides have said they made progress around the issue. And then, of course, President Trump raising the stakes even higher today, earlier telling reporters that he is going to bring up NVIDIA's Blackwell chips with the Chinese president later on. Now, of course, this is something that would be seen as a market plus when it comes to NVIDIA, which has been trying to regain market access to China since at least 2022. Now, Joe, there's a lot on the table. A lot hasn't been finalized yet, including what the administration would say about some potential critics when it comes to national security concerns over any potential sales of NVIDIA chips. But I have to say, covering President Trump here on the ground, it is clear that the White House is trying to gain as much leverage as possible going into this meeting. Joe, today, the U.S. inked this trade deal with South Korea, of course, focused on those critical sectors when it comes to competing with Beijing.
Tyler,
very interesting, very interesting. So that will definitely be moving the markets overnight and tomorrow. Very interesting. So what we've got, what the markets are doing, S&P is flat, Nasdaq cooling down, Bitcoin, XRP and Ethereum slightly recovering, gold is going down and silver is cooling off as well. What are the... Oh, hang on. We've got Jerome Powell speaking.
Face two-sided risks. In the committee's discussions at this meeting, there were strongly differing views about how to proceed in December. A further reduction in the policy rate at the December meeting is not a foregone conclusion. Far from it.
And joining us now with details of today's Fed decision is a man who was in the room with the Fed chair, Bloomberg's Michael McKee. It's great to see you on a Fed day in Washington, as always. Mike, you told us on the early edition of Balance of Power that this is exactly what the Fed chair would say. And so what to do with December in a dearth of economic data?
I think it's more than the dearth of economic data, although that complicates their job quite a bit. I think it's that they really don't know where inflation is going because of the tariff situation. I mean, we could have, Tyler could be reporting a whole new change in tariffs by the time we wake up tomorrow morning. And we don't know what the employment situation is going to be. AI seems to be driving a lot of job cut announcements these days. Are we going to see the unemployment rate shoot up? They just don't know, and they probably aren't going to know or have a really good idea of what's going to happen by December. So what Powell seems to be telling us is there's enough opposition to a December rate cut. More people would like to have them sit still and wait and pause and see what effect their rate cuts are having and what is happening in the economy before they go again.
The administration has gone out of it.
I'm trying to find any update on the Trump-Xi meeting later in Korea. I'm trying to find out if there's any more information, if there's any more update on it.
The administration tariffs are and they are inflationary. They do push up prices. The question is, how long does that inflation last?
Yeah.
The argument that the Fed is buying is that it will be a sort of one-off event. Now, it's not going to be one day, as it was when Smoot-Hawley went into effect. It's going to be each time the tariffs come on to a different sector, they will slowly raise prices as companies adjust. But then they stop. Still, it leaves you with higher prices overall, and that is an affordability problem, a political problem as well.
Fascinating as ever. Bloomberg's Mike.
We are about 22 minutes away from the Microsoft actual earnings call from the webcast. I was going to bring you Meta or Google in the meantime, but they both start at the same time, unfortunately, so we have to wait. The markets are flat currently, waiting for further guidance. I'm trying to find some more information and update on the Trump and Chinese President Xi meeting happening tonight, because that would be quite interesting if we could get some updates live. So bear with me, stand by. In the meantime, I will offer you our friends from Bloomberg.
And I am gravely concerned that President Trump fails to appreciate what a permanent advantage he would be giving away if he is to greenlight the sale of NVIDIA's advanced Blackwell chips. They're a dozen times more powerful than the H20 chips that he's already allowed NVIDIA to sell to the People's Republic of China. And this would allow the Chinese to gain an advantage over us in training new AI models, in threatening our safety, our industry, our military advantage. It would make their missiles more powerful. It would allow them to carry out more effective cyber attacks on our businesses and our national security infrastructure. It frankly would make China a far more lethal competitor to the United States. And in exchange for what? For a temporary advantage in the sale of soybeans or a temporary benefit in terms of rare earths or critical minerals. As you know, President Trump recently had a successful meeting with the Prime Minister of Australia. We have several close allies, Australia, Canada, Norway, that have abundant critical minerals and rare earths. We should be moving forward with closer partnerships with them, not selling the farm to China.
So what should be President Trump's posture tomorrow in this meeting? Senator, you just took off the list, you took off the table exactly what Xi Jinping is looking for. He'd love to have more than the H20 chip, apparently, and you've got Jensen Huang in President Trump's ear saying that the U.S.-made stack should be adopted around the world if we want to win this AI race. How do you rationalize these two?
Because the key difference here is that these Blackwell level chips allow the Chinese to train new models. With DeepSeek, they've already shown that they've got a significant competitive edge in the intellectual capability, in power, in energy, in the data set that they're able to access because of the size of their population. AI is absolutely critical to the competition of the 21st century, economic, political, social, and military. So I would not put that on the table. I would instead continue to talk about traditional commodity relationships, about reducing fentanyl exports, increasing soybean purchases, lowering tariffs in a way that can help both countries and both economies. But to give away these chips is to give away the keys to the kingdom and the one area where the United States still has a critical competitive advantage in the race to AI.
Well, this very idea was enough to...
I've got an update on the Trump Xi meeting. US President Donald Trump is set to meet China's President Xi Jinping for the first time since returning to the White House as his tour of Asia comes to a close. They are due to meet in the early hours of Thursday morning, where a trade deal could be on the table. That could be massive move. That could be massive move on the market. The last time the two leaders met was in 2019, but since Trump returned to the office, the two superpowers have been trading blows in a trade war that has rattled global markets. At one point, both parties had triple-digit tariffs on each other's goods, although they later backed down from this position. Earlier this month, Trump has threatened an additional 100% tariff on imports from China starting in November. But now the president feels more optimistic about thawing relations. In his address to economic leaders in Korea, Trump said, "You know that President Xi of China is coming tomorrow here, and we are going to be, I hope, making a deal." That's optimistic. That's very optimistic. I think we are going to have a deal. I think it will be a good deal for both. And that's really a great result, he added. Trump concluded, "That's better than fighting and going through all sorts of problems and, you know, no reason for it." There we go. So after what, 6 months, almost 6 months of trade wars, now we are realizing it's better to come to a conclusion and have a deal, make a deal, rather than fight. Thank you. I mean, it brought us one of the best investment opportunities in last 12 months now after the carry trade. So I'm not really complaining, but it was painful. It could have been painful to many investors, and I feel sorry for those who lost their money. On the cards is the lowering of US tariffs on the flow of fentanyl ingredients into the US. In return, it's expected that China will defer. In return, it's expected that China will defer tightened rare earth minerals controls and resume substantial soybean purchases from the United States. A deal to keep TikTok running in the US could also be finalized. While China was late to confirm this meeting would go ahead, it said it was willing to work with the United States to inject new momentum into their relationship. So that looks very optimistic. That looks very optimistic from both sides. At the banquet dinner on his tour of Asia, Trump toasted world peace and collaboration between states. The president will already be returning to Washington with a $350 billion investment package from South Korea. Right, I will try to bring you more updates. I'll try to bring you more updates. In the meantime, we are 15 minutes away from the Microsoft actual earnings call, from the webcast to start. We got the numbers in. Let's have a look what the stocks are doing. Google is slightly pushing up. That looks very optimistic. Meta hit the previous support again, and Microsoft seems to have another slow run. Who we've got in the chat? Do we have any questions? I could see some messages coming through. I sold my Google. Good enough for me. 72% songs for space. Well, congratulations. Congratulations, mate. Nice trade. Bought Meta and Microsoft, says songs for space. See Narsahin, am I saying that right? Do you think Microsoft will go up with the earnings call? It's possible. It's very possible. If you look at the stock, the investors seem to be digesting the numbers, and we have an upside. If you look at Meta, that looks more than likely it will go sideways or down. But Microsoft, if I could pick one, I would probably say Microsoft can go up. If not on the call, it might go up tomorrow. And if we have some good news from the China and US president meeting, and the tariff updates and good news on tariffs, I have no doubt that could be another few percent rally on Microsoft. See the trees, Google building here, pop above $290 and it could try for a new high. I agree. Songs for space, if the market remains bullish, these stocks must go up. Yes, exactly. Especially if we have a deal progress or agreement tomorrow. That could be a massive rocket tomorrow. Thing that is questionable is double the volume on red on Microsoft and Meta, says Songs for Space. And what do you think about Amazon stock? I don't think anything about Amazon stock. We are covering the earnings tomorrow. We might not be, because nobody's requested it, but we should be covering either Amazon or what's there for tomorrow? Or I've lost it now. Amazon or Apple. Amazon or Apple. So one of these will be covering tomorrow. If you want to lock in Amazon, if you want to lock in Amazon, you can do it for a $10 super chat, and there's guarantee it will be covering Amazon tomorrow. Let's have a look at the chart. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a build up towards the earnings. Oh, there wasn't. This could be a reaction. This could be a reaction on the back of the Mag 7 number reports. So if you look at Tesla, if you look at Microsoft, and if you look at Meta, 3 out of 4 reported so far had negative reaction. So again, this can go either way. This could be beginning of a sell-off. This could be beginning of profit taking. This could be beginning of a crash. We are about 12 minutes away. We are about 12 minutes away. Yenon Sharabai says, I have 250k in Amazon calls. Ooh, well, good luck to you. Good luck to you. What is your target? What is your target price on the calls? Let me know. Panda Pau says, isn't Xi Jinping and Trump meeting tonight at 10 p.m.? I'm trying to find some more. I'm trying to find some more in the meantime. Let's have a look at our friends from Bloomberg. We might get some update from them. No, we are currently getting charts. Let's see. They will be talking about it. The closer we get to it, the more they will be talking about it. 10 o'clock p.m. 10 o'clock p.m. Panda Pau, where are you based? What time zone are you on? I mean, the meeting will not be streamed. The meeting will not be streamed, but there will be conference. There should be a conference after the meeting.
I expect to be lowering that because I believe that they're going to help us with the fentanyl situation. They're going to be doing what they can do. But we have to have the meeting. Our meeting tomorrow. That's a big meeting. And fentanyl will be one of the things that we're discussing. Importantly, we'll be discussing the farmers. We'll be discussing a lot of things. But fentanyl will be one of the things we're discussing.
It's Balance of Power on Bloomberg TV and radio. I'm Joe Matthew. Thanks for joining us. That, of course, the president teeing up his meeting with China's Xi Jinping, speaking with reporters on Air Force One. That meeting now less than 5 hours away, with the president saying that he could lower tariffs the U.S. has imposed on Chinese goods over the fentanyl crisis. Big shift in the administration's trade position. That's news. Joining us now with his perspective, live from Capitol Hill on this and other matters, Republican Senator James Lankford of Oklahoma, member of the Senate Intelligence Committee and the Senate Finance Committee. Senator, it's great to see you. Welcome back to Bloomberg TV and radio. Joe. Should export controls be on the table for this conversation?
Yeah, we should put everything on the table to actually have real conversations about what we're going to actually bring in and out. We buy a lot of toys and a lot of different products from China, but we're also dependent on them for critical minerals. They're dependent on us for energy and a lot of other products that are coming that way. So let's talk about it.
Well, of course.
So they said 5 hours away. 5 hours away. There's a big chance there'll be the conference early in the morning, and Sensei might be able to cover it because they'll be in his airtime. If not, you will definitely hear some updates. I'll try to look out if we have any conference before that. If we have any conference in next 2 or 3 hours, I'm more than happy to cover it. If you can have a look, if you can help me and you want me to cover it, have a look around if you can see any conferences scheduled before the actual meeting. I'll be more than happy to cover it for you. We are now 9 minutes away. We are 9 minutes away from the actual earnings call, from the webcast to start. You can see it. Top of the screen, you can see it here. 9 minutes away. So we finally... This is quite... I don't understand. What is the logic behind this? Can somebody help me? Because we covered Enphase Energy. Usually they start about an hour, or literally an hour after the closing bell. We had Enphase Energy, who started half an hour after the closing bell yesterday. And now we have Microsoft, Meta, and Google starting 1.5 hours. I thought it was like set time, or there was a logic behind that, but apparently it's not. So I don't know how they decide. What is the logic behind that? And the morning ones, they are even worse, because morning, you have this hour window, and then you have some companies reporting after the market open. So that's even more wild. So Amazon, excuse me, Amazon, target price 240. Target price 240. Let's zoom out. Let's zoom out to the yearly. So we had a very nice run from April. Since April, that was a very nice trend in there. Then we broke it in August on the back of earnings. So I guess it was a miss, or there wasn't good guidance. That's quite a big retraction. Then we had another trend-ish, following the trend line, and now on the short term we seem to be forming another. Is it a trend? I mean, it's definitely going up, but I wouldn't call it a trend. So 240 is the previous high. Is it? Did we hit 240? No, we didn't. It's not the previous high. It's 238.85. Ooh, that might be very, very bold, those 240 calls. I'm not saying it's unrealistic. If we have good news from the Chinese and US president meeting, you might hit it before the call. But let me get rid of it because I don't like it. It's very. I don't know what to say. It literally depends on tomorrow's macro, and it literally depends on their earnings guidance. I mean, it's not unrealistic. We hit 240 before. We just hit 240 before, and we go very close to it 2 times already, and we seem to have another run. We seem to have third run. We've been sticking to this previous support. So if we break through the resistance of 238.68 or whatever that is, 238.60, we can see a run over 240. But it all depends. It all depends. And I can see Trixie in the chat. I can see you. Vas is doing chat analysis. Yeah, I'm just doing my basic insights. Trixie says, I just bought Meta in the dip and holding. So, Yenon Sharabai, let me know if it helped you. It's a very, very bold and very brave. When did you order these calls? When did you order them? Was it recently or was it a long time ago? Let me know in the chat. I'm very intrigued. 5 minutes away from the Microsoft actual earnings call and from the guidance and Q&A. We are 4 minutes away now. I'm keeping an eye on Bloomberg. We are not getting any updates. We got an update that Trump and Xi Jinping are going to be meeting up in about 5 hours. So if you can see a press conference before that with Donald Trump, I'm more than happy to bring you the broadcast in next 2-3 hours. Yenon Sharabai says, recently 2-week call on Monday. Yeah, well, I wish you good luck. I think it's risky, but it's not impossible. It will all depend on Trump's development. We have an update from Trump. South Korea has agreed to pay the USA $350 billion for a lowering of the tariffs charged against them by the United States. Additionally, they have agreed to buy our oil and gas in vast quantities. Interesting update. So what is Google doing? Let's have a look before we kick off with the earnings calls. Google is going sideways, no massive move. S&P will be going sideways as well until we get some movement from Microsoft, Meta, and Google. Meta will probably break through and it might go even lower. Let's see what the guidance is going to bring, and let's see what the Trump and Xi Jinping meeting is going to bring. And Microsoft, on the way to slight recovery. So let's see. Let's wait for the guidance. 3 minutes away. 3 minutes away. I was going to tune into Bloomberg, but they are having break again. I need to propose this to Martyn. We need to start doing commercial breaks. I mean, I could really do with that. I could really go to the toilet as well. So we are 2 minutes away. We are going to start Microsoft earnings shortly. Here are my numbers, which are better than Bloomberg. They are not so big. Now I'll put Bloomberg back. We are 2 minutes away from the actual Microsoft webcast. Keeping an eye on Bloomberg news. We have any updates or not. What we've got in the chat, I can see some messages coming through. Recently, 2-week call from Yenon on Monday. Our contract in, but seeing aftermarket today, it's going down. Don't know why. Yeah, it's on the back of Meta and Microsoft miss. Yeah, that's just overreaction. Vaz, one guy tell me Meta can go 70 to 80% down. And he just bought it. Trickseek, on the back of this information. Well, it depends who told you. If somebody told you in a Reddit room, it's probably not what's the word? What is the word? Not valuable. Credible source of information. Oh, we seem to have started. So let's have a look. Is the audio coming through? Not yet. We are having music, but that's a good sign. So we'll be starting very, very shortly. Trickseek says, some random guy. So Trickseek, basically, you just made it up. You just made it up in the spot. It's like, oh yeah, I know. I've got a friend and my mate and my mate's mate and his sister's brother-in-law said, yeah. Yeah, Trixie, we are just joking. Don't worry about it. I've got my light. My light's gone out again. I don't know why. The music is still on. We'll be starting very shortly. The webcast is open now, as you can see. We are waiting for them to come through. I can't play the music, unfortunately. Can't play the music because of copyright reasons. I'm getting some more numbers from Bloomberg now. Let me mute this. Let me unmute this because it's not working. Let me mute this here. Microsoft not starting yet. Bear with us. Stand by for a few minutes. They never, hardly ever. I think 95% of the companies, they don't start on time. They are always 1 or 2 minutes late. I mean, Tesla, they started like 12 minutes late last week. So bear with us. We've got some update from Bloomberg. So let's listen to it.
The same as noted by investor reaction here, and joining us now with Power Moves, Bloomberg's Caroline Hyde, who joins us live from World Headquarters in New York. Caroline, it's great to see you. Start with the good news of the bad.
Meta has taken the biggest hit today. I can actually play it without the audio, can I? They are just talking. I need to monitor the actual call, so I can't play both audios at the same time. And there we go. So we are listening to the Microsoft third quarter 2025 earnings call.
Follow the formal presentation. If anyone should require operator assistance, please press *0 on your telephone keypad. As a reminder, this conference is being recorded. It is now my pleasure to introduce Jonathan Nielsen, Vice President of Investor Relations. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. On the call with me are Satya Nadella, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, Amy Hood, Chief Financial Officer, Alice Jolla, Chief Accounting Officer, and Keith Dolliver, Corporate Secretary and Deputy General Counsel. On the Microsoft Investor Relations website, we will provide our earnings press release and financial summary slide deck, which is intended to supplement our prepared remarks and provides the reconciliation of differences between GAAP and non-GAAP financial measures. More detailed Outlook slides will be available on the Microsoft Investor Relations website. On this call, we will discuss certain non-GAAP items. The non-GAAP financial measures provided should not be considered as a substitute for or superior to the measures of financial performance prepared in accordance with GAAP. They are included as additional clarifying items to aid investors in further understanding the company's first quarter performance, in addition to the impact these items and events have on the financial results. All growth comparisons we make on the call today relate to the corresponding period of last year unless otherwise noted. We will also provide growth rates in constant currency, when available, as a framework for assessing how our underlying business performed, excluding the effect of foreign currency rate fluctuations. Where growth rates are the same in constant currency, we will refer to the growth rate only. We will post our prepared remarks to our website. Today's call is being recorded. If you ask a question, it will be included in our live transmission, in the transcript, and in any future use of the recording. You can replay the call and view the transcript on the Microsoft Investor Relations website. During this call, we will be making forward-looking statements, which are predictions, projections, or other statements about future events. These statements are based on current expectations and assumptions that are subject to risks and uncertainties. Actual results could materially differ because of factors discussed in today's earnings press release, in the comments made during this conference call, and in the risk factor section of our Form 10-K, Forms 10-Q, and other reports and filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission. We do not undertake any duty to update any forward-looking statement. And with that, I'll turn the call over to Satya.
Thank you, Jonathan. It was a very strong start to our fiscal year. Microsoft Cloud revenue surpassed $49 billion, up 26% year over year. And our commercial RPO increased over 50% to nearly $400 billion with a weighted average duration of only 2 years. We are seeing increasing demand and diffusion of our AI platform and family of copilots, which is fueling our investments across both capital and talent. When it comes to infrastructure, we're building a planet-scale cloud and an AI factory, maximizing tokens per dollar per watt while supporting the sovereignty needs of customers and countries. We're innovating rapidly across the family of copilots, spanning the high-value domains of information work, coding, security, science, health, and consumer. And as you saw yesterday, we closed a new definitive agreement with OpenAI, marking the next chapter in what is one of the most successful partnerships and investments our industry has ever seen. This is a great milestone for both companies, and we continue to benefit mutually from each other's growth across multiple dimensions. Already, we have roughly 10x our investment. OpenAI has contracted an incremental $250 billion of Azure services. Our rev share, exclusive IP rights, and API exclusivity for Azure continue until AGI or through 2030. And we have extended the model and product IP rights through 2032. And we are also energized to innovate and pursue AI advancements with both talent and compute investments that have real-world impact. With that, let's turn to our momentum across our AI platform and copilots, as well as with agents. We have the most expansive data center fleet for the AI era, and we are adding capacity at an unprecedented scale. We will increase our total AI capacity by over 80% this year and roughly double our total data center footprint over the next 2 years, reflecting the demand signals we see. Just this quarter, we announced the world's most powerful AI data center, Fairwater in Wisconsin, which will go online next year and scale to 2 gigawatts alone. And we have deployed the world's first large-scale cluster of NVIDIA GB300s. We are building a fungible fleet that's being continuously modernized and spans all stages of the AI lifecycle, from pre-training to post-training to synthetic data generation and inference. And it also goes beyond Gen AI workloads to recommendation engines, databases, and streaming. We're optimizing this fleet across silicon, systems, and software to maximize performance and efficiency. It's this combination of fungibility and continuous optimization that allows us to deliver the best ROI and TCO for us and our customers. For example, during the quarter, we increased the token throughput for GPT-4.1 and GPT-5, two of the most widely used models, by over 30% per GPU. We also have the most comprehensive digital sovereignty platform. Azure customers in 33 countries are now developing their own cloud and AI capabilities within their borders to meet local data residency requirements. In Germany, for example, OpenAI and SAP will rely on Azure to deliver new AI solutions to the public sector. On top of this infrastructure, we're building Azure AI Foundry to help customers build their own AI apps and agents. We have 80,000 customers, including 80% of the Fortune 500. We offer developers and enterprise access to over 11,000 models, more than any other vendor, including, as of this quarter, OpenAI's GPT-5, as well as xAI's Grok 4. For example, Ralph Lauren used Foundry to build conversational shopping experience in its app, enabling customers to describe what they're looking for and get personalized recommendations. And Open Evidence used Foundry to create its AI-powered clinical assistant, which surfaces relevant medical information to physicians and helps streamline charting. When it comes to our first-party models, we are excited by the performance of our new MAI models for text, voice, and image generation, which debuted among the top in the industry leaderboards. And we continue to make great progress with our 5 family of SLMs, which now have been downloaded over 60 million times, up 3x year over year. Beyond models in Foundry, we are providing everything developers need to design, customize, and manage AI applications and agents at scale. Our new Microsoft Agent Framework helps developers orchestrate multi-agent systems with compliance, observability, and deep integration out of the box. For example, KPMG used the framework to modernize the audit process, connecting agents to internal data with enterprise-grade governance and observability. These kinds of real production-scale AI deployments are driving Azure's overall growth, and once again, this quarter, Azure took share. Now let's turn to applications and agents we ourselves are building on this platform. We now have 900 million monthly active users of our AI features across our products. And our first-party family of Copilots now has surpassed 150 million monthly active users across information work, coding, security, science, health, and consumer. When it comes to information work, we continue to innovate with Microsoft 365 Copilot. Copilot is becoming the UI for the agentic AI experience. We have integrated chat and agentic workflows into everyday tools like Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Teams. Just 9 months since release, tens of millions of users across Microsoft 365 customer base are already using chat. Adoption is accelerating rapidly, growing 50% quarter over quarter, and we continue to see usage intensity increase. This quarter, we also introduced Agent Mode, which turns single prompts into expert quality Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoint presentation, and then iterate to deliver the final product, much like Agent Mode in coding tools today. We're thrilled by the early response, including third-party benchmarks that rank it best in class. Beyond individual productivity, Copilot is multiplayer. With Teams Mode announced this week, you can now invite colleagues into a Copilot conversation. And our collaborative agents like Facilitator and Project Manager prep meeting agendas, take notes, capture decision, kick off group tasks. We are seeing a growing Copilot agent ecosystem with top ISVs like Adobe, Asana, Jira, LexisNexis, SAP, ServiceNow, Snowflake, and Workday all building their own agents that connect to Copilot. And customers are also building agents for their mission-critical business processes and workflows using tools like Copilot Studio and integrating them into Copilot. The overall number of agent users doubled quarter over quarter, and just yesterday we announced App Builder, a new Copilot agent that lets anyone create and deploy task-specific apps and agents in minutes grounded in Microsoft 365 context. All this innovation is driving our momentum. Customers continue to adopt Microsoft 365 Copilot at a faster rate than any other new Microsoft 365 suite. All up, more than 90% of the Fortune 500 now use Microsoft 365 Copilot. Accenture, Bristol-Myers Squibb, EY Global, and the UK's Tax and Payment and Customs Authority all purchased over 15,000 seats this quarter. Lloyds Banking Group has deployed 30,000 seats, saving each employee an average of 46 minutes daily. And a large majority of our enterprise customers continue to come back to purchase more seats. Our partner PwC alone added 155,000 seats this quarter and now has over 200,000 deployed across its global operations. In just 6 months, PwC employees interacted with Microsoft 365 Copilot over 30 million times, and they credit this agentic transformation with saving millions of hours in employee productivity. When it comes to coding, GitHub Copilot is the most popular AI pair programmer now with over 26 million users. For example, tens of thousands of developers at AMD use GitHub Copilot, accepting hundreds of thousands of lines of code suggestions each month and crediting it with saving months of development time. All up, GitHub is now home to over 180 million developers, and the platform is growing at the fastest rate in its history, adding a developer every second. 80% of new developers on GitHub start with Copilot within the first week. Overall, the rise of AI coding agents is driving record usage with over 500 million pull requests merged over the past year. And just yesterday at GitHub Universe, we introduced Agent HQ. GitHub Copilot and Agent HQ is the organizing layer for all coding agent, extending the GitHub primitives like PRs, issues, actions to coding agents from OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, Cognition, XAI, as well as OSS and in-house models. GitHub now provides a single mission control to launch, manage, and review these agents, each operating from its own branch with built-in controls, observability, and governance. We're building a similar system in security with over 36 agents in Copilot integrated across Entra, Defender, Purview, and Intune. For example, with our phishing triage agent in Defender, studies show that analysts can be up to 6.5 times more efficient in detecting malicious mails. In health, Dragon Copilot helps providers automate critical workflows. This quarter alone, we helped document over 17 million patient encounters, up nearly 5x year over year. More than 650 healthcare organizations have purchased our ambient listening tech to date, including University of Michigan Health, where over 1,000 physicians are actively using it. Finally, when it comes to AI consumer experiences, we are excited about all the progress Copilot is making, starting with Windows. Every Windows 11 PC now is an AI PC. Just 2 weeks ago, we introduced new ways to speak naturally to your computer, including a Copilot wake word. With Vision, Copilot sees what you see on your screen, and you can have a real-time conversation about it. And with Action, it takes real action on your behalf, interacting with both web and desktop apps. In Edge, we are introducing first-of-its-kind AI features to automate multi-step workflows within the browser and help you pick up right where you left off. Edge now has taken share for 18 consecutive quarters. In Bing, our overview pages now include embedded conversational capabilities. We took share again in search. And daily users of our Copilot consumer app increased nearly 50% quarter over quarter. Among many updates we made last week is Groups, which turns Copilot for the first time into a shared experience. We also are creating a great consumer subscription offer with Microsoft 365 Premium. It brings together our Office applications and advanced Copilot features with high usage limits, giving individuals the flexibility to bring their own AI to work in a secure way. Finally, in gaming, Copilot provides a voice-first immersive experience across PC, mobile, and our new Xbox Ally. Beyond our family of Copilots and AI platform, we are seeing strong momentum across the portfolio. Cloud migrations are accelerating. In data and analytics, Fabric revenue grew 60%, which is faster than any other data and analytics platform in the industry. We now have 28,000 paid Fabric customers. In databases, SQL DB hyperscale revenue was up nearly 75%, 50% in Cosmos DB. In business applications, Dynamics 365 gained share. In security, our end-to-end stack is now informed by 100 trillion daily signals. 1 billion monthly active users of Entra, 16 billion Copilot interactions audited by Purview, up 72% quarter over quarter, 40,000 Sentinel customers, and we took share across all categories we serve in security. In LinkedIn, nearly 1.3 billion members. And finally, in gaming, we expanded our reach across every endpoint, focused on our high-margin content and services. We launched critically acclaimed games like Keeper, Ninja Gaiden 4, and Outer Worlds 2, reaching 155 million monthly active users in Minecraft, an all-time high, and set new record for overall content and services revenue for the quarter. We also saw a great response to Xbox Ally launch 2 weeks ago and set new records for players on PC. In closing, our planet-scale cloud and AI factory, together with copilots across high-value domains, is driving broad diffusion and real-world impact. And we continue to increase our investments in AI across both capital and talent to meet the massive opportunity ahead. With that, let me turn it over to Amy to walk through our financial results and outlook, and I look forward to rejoining for your questions.
Thank you, Satya, and good afternoon, everyone. First, as you heard from Satya, we were pleased to announce the next phase of our partnership with OpenAI yesterday. They continue to choose Microsoft to power their workloads, and together, we remain committed to driving innovation that meets real-world needs. Our Q1 results were not impacted by the deal signed this week. Now, on to the quarter. We delivered a strong start to our fiscal year, exceeding expectations across revenue, operating income, and earnings per share. We also saw continued share gains across many of our businesses, demonstrating our leadership position in key markets. This quarter, revenue was $77.7 billion, up 18% and 17% in constant currency. Gross margin dollars increased 18% and 16% in constant currency, while operating income increased 24% and 22% in constant currency. And earnings per share was $4.13, an increase of 23% and 21% in constant currency when adjusted for the impact of our investments in OpenAI. FX impact was roughly in line with guidance. Company gross margin percentage was 69%, down slightly year over year, driven by investments in AI, including the impact of scaling our AI infrastructure and the growing usage of our AI product features. This was partially offset by ongoing efficiency gains, particularly in Azure and M365 Commercial Cloud. Operating expenses increased 5% and 4% in constant currency, driven by investments in cloud and AI engineering, including compute capacity and AI talent to support product development across the portfolio. Operating margins increased year over year to 49% and were ahead of expectations with stronger than anticipated results in high-margin businesses this quarter. When adjusted for the impact from our investments in OpenAI, other income and expense was $401 million, as interest income more than offset interest expense, which includes the interest payments related to data center finance leases. Capital expenditures were $34.9 billion, driven by growing demand for our cloud and AI offerings. This quarter, roughly half of our spend was on short-lived assets, primarily GPUs and CPUs, to support increasing Azure platform demand, growing first-party apps and AI solutions, accelerating R&D by our product teams, as well as continued replacement for end-of-life server and networking equipment. The remaining spend was for long-lived assets that will support monetization for the next 15 years and beyond, including $11.1 billion of finance leases that are primarily for large data center sites. And cash paid for PP&E was $19.4 billion. As a reminder, the difference between total CapEx and cash paid for PP&E is primarily due to finance leases, as well as the normal timing of goods received but not yet paid. Cash flow from operations was $45.1 billion, up 32%, driven by strong cloud billings and collections, partially offset by higher supplier payments. And free cash flow increased 33% to $25.7 billion, with minimal impact from a sequential increase in CapEx, given the higher mix of finance leases. And finally, we returned $10.7 billion to shareholders through dividends and share repurchases. Now to our commercial results. Commercial bookings increased 112% and 111% in constant currency and were significantly ahead of expectations, driven by Azure commitments from OpenAI, as well as continued growth in the number of $100 million plus contracts for both Azure and M365. These results do not include any impact from the incremental $250 billion Azure commitments from OpenAI announced yesterday. Commercial remaining performance obligation increased to $392 billion and was up 51% year over year. The balance has nearly doubled over the past 2 years. And even with this growth, our weighted average duration has been relatively stable at approximately 2 years. Microsoft Cloud revenue was $49.1 billion, ahead of expectations, and grew 26% and 25% in constant currency. Microsoft Cloud gross margin percentage was slightly better than expected at 68%, and down year over year due to the investments in AI that were partially offset by ongoing efficiency gains, as noted earlier. Now to segment results. Revenue from productivity and business processes was $33 billion and grew 17% and 14% in constant currency. M365 commercial cloud revenue increased 17% and 15% in constant currency, with 1 point of benefit from in-period revenue recognition. Year-over-year growth was driven by both ARPU and seats, with ARPU growth again led by E5 and M365 Copilot. Paid M365 commercial seats grew 6% year-over-year, with installed base expansion across all customer segments, though primarily in our small and medium businesses and frontline worker offerings. M365 commercial products revenue increased 17% and 14% in constant currency, ahead of expectations due to higher than expected Office 2024 transactional purchasing. M365 consumer cloud revenue increased 26% and 25% in constant currency, again driven by ARPU growth. M365 consumer subscriptions grew 7% to over 90 million. LinkedIn revenue increased 10% and 9% in constant currency, driven by marketing solutions. The talent solutions business was impacted by continued weakness in the hiring market. Dynamics 365 revenue increased 18% and 16% in constant currency, with continued growth across all workloads. Segment gross margin dollars increased 19% and 16% in constant currency, and gross margin percentage increased, driven by efficiency gains in M365 commercial cloud that were partially offset by investments in AI, including the impact of growing usage in M365 Copilot chat. Operating expenses increased 6% and 5% in constant currency, and operating income increased 24% and 20% in constant currency. Operating margins increased 3 points year over year to 62%, driven by the higher gross margin noted earlier, as well as improved operating leverage. Next, the Intelligent Cloud segment. Revenue was $30.9 billion and grew 28% and 27% in constant currency. In Azure and other cloud services, where we continue to see accelerating demand, revenue grew 40% and 39% in constant currency. Results were ahead of expectations, driven by better than expected growth in our core infrastructure business, primarily from our largest customers. Azure AI Services revenue was generally in line with expectations, and this quarter, demand again exceeded supply across workloads, even as we brought more capacity online. In our on-premise server business, revenue increased 1% and was relatively unchanged in constant currency. Results were ahead of expectations, driven by transactional purchasing of Windows Server 2025. Segment gross margin dollars increased 20% and 19% in constant currency, and gross margin percentage decreased year over year, driven by investments in AI that were partially offset by efficiency gains in Azure. Operating expenses increased 4% and operating income grew 27%. Operating margins were 43%, down only slightly year over year, as increased investments in AI were mostly offset by improved operating leverage. Now to more personal computing. Revenue was $13.8 billion and grew 4%. Windows OEM and devices revenue increased 6% year over year, significantly ahead of expectations, driven by strong demand ahead of Windows 10 end of support, as well as a benefit from inventory levels that remain elevated. Search and news advertising revenue ex-TAC increased 16% and 15% in constant currency, driven by growth in volume as well as a continued benefit from third-party partnerships that was better than expected. And in gaming, revenue decreased 2% and 3% in constant currency. Against a strong prior year comparable, Xbox content and services revenue increased 1% and was relatively unchanged in constant currency, driven by better than expected performance from third-party content. Segment gross margin dollars increased 11% and 10% in constant currency, and gross margin percentage increased year over year, driven by sales mix shift to higher margin businesses. Operating expenses increased 4% and 3% in constant currency, and operating income increased 18% and 16% in constant currency. Operating margins increased 3 points year over year to 30%, driven by the higher gross margin noted earlier. Now, moving to our Q2 outlook, which, unless specifically noted otherwise, is on a U.S. dollar
This is
basis.
probably profit taking.
Based on current rates, we expect FX to increase total revenue growth by 2 points. Within the segments, we expect FX to increase revenue growth by 2 points in productivity and business processes and intelligent cloud, and 1 point in more personal computing. We expect FX to increase COGS and operating expense growth by 1 point. Starting with the total company.
That's profit
We expect
taking.
revenue
People
of
are taking profits.
$79.5 to $80.6 billion US dollars, or growth of 14 to 16%. We expect COGS of $26.35 to $26.55 billion US dollars, or growth of 21 to 22%, and operating expense of $17.3 to $17.4 billion US dollars, or growth of 7 to 8%. Operating margins should be relatively flat year over year and down sequentially, aligned with historic seasonality. Now, other income and expense. The combination of OpenAI's conversion to a public benefit corp and the ongoing nature of our partnership will result in increased volatility. Therefore, going forward, we will provide our outlook excluding any impact from our investments in OpenAI. On that basis, in Q2, other income and expense is estimated to be roughly $100 million, as interest income will more than offset interest expense. And we expect our Q2 effective tax rate to be approximately 19%. Next, capital expenditures. With accelerating demand and a growing RPO balance, we're increasing our spend on GPUs and CPUs. Therefore, total spend will increase sequentially, and we now expect the FY26 growth rate to be higher than FY25. As a reminder, there can be quarterly spend variability from cloud infrastructure buildouts and the timing of delivery of finance leases. Next, our commercial business. In commercial bookings, we expect healthy growth in the core business on a low expiry base when adjusted for the OpenAI contracts in the prior year. And we expect commercial bookings will be positively impacted by the significant OpenAI commitments announced yesterday. As a reminder, larger long-term Azure contracts, which are more unpredictable in their timing, drive increased quarterly volatility in our bookings growth rate. Microsoft Cloud gross margin percentage should be roughly 66%, down year over year, driven by the continued investments in AI as well as the mix shift to Azure. Now to segment guidance. In productivity and business processes, we expect revenue of $33.3 to $33.6 billion US dollars, or growth of 13 to 14%. In M365 Commercial Cloud, we expect revenue growth to be between 13 and 14% in constant currency, with business trends that remain relatively stable quarter over quarter. ARPU growth will again be driven by E5 and M365 Copilot. M365 Commercial Products revenue growth should be in the low to mid-single digits. As a reminder, M365 Commercial Products includes components that can be variable due to the end-period revenue recognition dynamics. M365 Consumer Cloud revenue growth should be in the mid-20s, driven by growth in ARPU. For LinkedIn, we expect revenue growth of approximately 10%. And in Dynamics 365, we expect revenue growth to be in the mid to high teens, with continued growth across all workloads. For Intelligent Cloud, we expect revenue of $32.25 to $32.55 billion US dollars, or growth of 26 to 27%. In Azure, we expect Q2 revenue growth of approximately 37% in constant currency, as demand remains significantly ahead of the capacity we have available. And while we're accelerating the amount of capacity we're bringing online, we will continue to balance Azure revenue growth with the growing needs across our first-party apps and AI solutions, our own R&D efforts, and the end-of-life server replacements. Therefore, we now expect to be capacity constrained through at least the end of our fiscal year. As a reminder, there can be quarterly variability in the year-on-year growth rates depending on the timing of capacity delivery and when it comes online, as well as from in-period revenue recognition depending on the mix of contracts. In our on-premises server business, we expect revenue to decline in the low to mid-single digits with ongoing customer shift to cloud offerings.
I think this is a good opportunity to get in.
We expect revenue to be in the 13.95 to 14.45 billion US dollars.
Scramble a few
Windows OEM and devices revenue should decline in the mid-single digits. We expect continued momentum from Windows 10 end of support, although growth rates will be impacted by elevated inventory levels at the end of Q1 that we expect to come down through the quarter. Therefore, Windows OEM revenue should decline in low to mid-single digits. The range of potential outcomes remains wider than normal. Devices revenue should decline year over year. Search and news advertising ex-TAC revenue growth should be in the low double digits, down sequentially as growth rates normalize, following the benefit from third-party partnerships noted earlier. Growth will continue to be driven by volume and revenue per search across Edge and Bing. And in Xbox content and services, we expect revenue to decline in the low to mid-single digits against a prior year comparable that benefited from strong first-party performance, partially offset by growth in subscriptions. And hardware revenue should decline year over year. And in closing, demand signals across bookings, RPO, and product usage are accelerating faster than we expected. We're investing in infrastructure, AI talent, and product innovation to capture that momentum and expand our leadership position. And we remain focused on delivering real value to our customers that results in durable revenue growth for the long term. With that, let's go to Q&A, Jonathan.
This is the most important and interesting part of the whole call, the Q&A. A lot of information you will learn on top of the guidance you just heard.
Sir, can you please repeat your instructions?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to ask a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad, and a confirmation tone will indicate your line is in the question queue. You may press star 2 if you would like to remove your question from the queue. For participants using speaker equipment, it may be necessary to pick up your handset before pressing the star keys. And our first question comes from the line of Keith Weiss with Morgan Stanley. Please proceed.
Excellent. Thank you guys for taking the question, and congratulations on another outstanding quarter. And if I'm looking at Microsoft, this is 2 quarters in a row. We're really seeing results that are well ahead of anybody's expectations when we were thinking about this company a year ago or 5 years ago. 111% commercial bookings growth was not on anybody's bingo card, if you will. Yet the stock is underperforming the broader market. And the question I have is kind of getting at the zeitgeist that I think is weighing on the stock, and is something about to change. And I think AGI is kind of a nomenclature or a shorthand for that, and it's something that's still included in your guys' OpenAI agreement. So Satya, when we think about AGI, or we think about how application and computing architectures are changing, is there anything that you see on the horizon, whether it's AGI or something else, that could potentially change what appears to be a really strong positioning for Microsoft in the marketplace today, where that strength will perhaps weaken on a go-forward basis? Is there anything that you're worrying about in that evolution, and particularly the evolution of these generative AI models?
No, thank you, Keith, for the question. So here's how I would say that I think there are 2 parts. We feel very, very good about even this, I'd say, the new agreement that we now have with OpenAI, because I think even it just creates more certainty to all of the IP relationship we have as it relates to even this definition of AGI. But beyond that, I think your question touches on something that's pretty important, which is how are these AI systems going to truly be deployed in the real world and make a real difference and make a return for both the customers who are deploying them and then obviously the providers of these systems. And I think the best way to characterize the situation is that even as the intelligence capability increases, let's even say exponentially, like model version over model version, the problem is it's always going to still be jagged, right? I think the term people use is the jagged intelligence, or spiky intelligence, right? So you may even have a capability that's fantastic at a particular task, but it may not uniformly grow. So what is required is, in fact, these systems, whether it is GitHub Agent HQ or the M365 Copilot system. Don't think of this as a product. Think of it as a system that in some sense smooths out those jagged edges and really helps the capability. I mean, just to give you a flavor for it, right? So if I am in M365 Copilot, I can generate an Excel spreadsheet. The good news is now an Excel spreadsheet does understand Office.js, has the formulas in it. It feels like, wow, it is a great spreadsheet created by a good modeler. The more interesting thing is I can go into agent mode in Excel and iterate on that model. And yet it'll stay on rails. It won't go off rails. It'll be able to do the iteration. Then I can even give it to the analyst agent, and then it'll even make sense of it like a data analyst would of an Excel model. The reason I say all of that is because that's the type of construction that will be needed, even when the model is magical, all-powerful. I think we will be in this jagged intelligence phase for a long time. So one of the fundamental things that whether it's GitHub, whether it's security, whether it's M365, the three main domains we're in, we feel very, very good about building these as organizing layers for agents to help customers. And by the way, that's the same thing that we're going to put into Foundry for our third-party customers. So that's kind of how people will build these multi-agent systems. So I feel actually pretty good about both the progress in AI. I don't think AGI, as defined at least by us in our contract, is ever going to be achieved anytime soon. But I do believe we can drive a lot of value for customers with advances in AI models by building these systems. So it's kind of the real question that needs to be well understood. And I feel very, very confident about our ability to make progress.
Excellent. That's super helpful.
Thanks, Keith. Operator, next question, please.
The next question comes from the line of Brent Thill with Jefferies. Please proceed.
Thanks. Amy, on the bookings blowout, I guess many are, somewhat concerned about concentration risk. And I think you noted a number of $100 million contracts, not to go into a lot of detail, but can you just give us a sense of what you're seeing in that 51% RPO and 110+% bookings growth that gives you confidence about what you're seeing in terms of the breadth and extent of some of these deals on a global basis? Thanks.
Thanks, Brent. A couple things to maybe take a step back on RPO. With a nearly $400 billion balance, we've been trying to help people understand sort of how to think about really the breadth of that. It covers numerous products. It covers customers of all sizes. And that's been a balance that we've been growing, obviously, at a good clip. But what people need to realize is it sits across multiple products because of the things Satya's talking about around creating systems and where we're investing. And if you're going to have that type of balance, and then more importantly, have the weighted average duration be 2 years, it means that most of that is being consumed in relatively short order. People are not consuming, and I say this broadly, unless there's value. And I think this is why we keep coming back to, are we creating real-world value in our AI platforms, in our AI solutions and apps and systems? And so I think the way to think about RPO is it's been building across a number of customers. We're thrilled to have OpenAI be a piece of that. We're learning a ton and building leading systems because of it that are being used at scale that benefits every other customer. And so it's why we've tried to give a little bit more color to that RPO balance, because I do understand that there have been a lot of concerns or questions about, is it long dated? Is it coming over a long period of time? And hopefully this is helpful for people to realize that these are contracts being signed by customers who intend to use it in relatively short order. And at that type of scale, I think that's a pretty remarkable execution.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brent. Operator, next question, please.
The next question comes from the line of Mark Moerdler with Bernstein Research. Please proceed.
Thank you very much for taking my question, and congratulations on the quarter. It's pretty amazing what you guys are doing. Satya and Amy, I'd like to ask you the number one question I receive, whether from investors or at AI conferences I attend. how much confidence do you have that the software, and even the consumer internet business, can monetize all the investments we're seeing globally, or frankly, are we in a bubble? In fact, Amy, what would be the factors you'd be watching for to assure that you're not overbuilding for current demand and that demand will sustain? Thank you.
Maybe I'll start, Satya, and then you could add. Let me talk a little bit about maybe connecting a couple of the dots, because with $400 billion of RPO that's sort of short-dated, as we talked about, our needs to continue to build out the infrastructure is very high. And that's for booked business today. That is not any new booked business we started trying to accomplish on October 1st, right? And so the way to think about that, and you saw it this quarter in particular, and as we talked about 26, the remainder, number one, we're pivoting toward increasingly, we talked about this, short-lived assets, both GPUs and CPUs. Again, we talk about all these workloads are burning both in terms of app building. Now, when that happens, short-lived assets generally are done to match sort of the duration of the contracts or the duration of your expectation of those contracts. And so I sometimes think when people think about risk, they're not realizing that most of the lifetimes of these and the lifetimes of the contracts are very similar. And so when you think about having revenue and the bookings and coming on the balance sheet and the depreciation of short-lived assets, they're actually quite matched, Mark. And as you know, we have spent the past few years not actually being short GPUs and CPUs per se. We were short the space or the power is the language we use to put them in. So we spent a lot of time building out that infrastructure. Now we're continuing to do that, also using leases. Those are very long-lived assets, as we've talked about, 15 to 20 years. And over that period of time, do I have confidence that we'll need to use all of that? It is very high. And so when I think about sort of balancing those things, seeing the pivot to GPU, CPU, short-lived, seeing the pivot in terms of how those are being utilized, we are, and I said this now, we've been short now for many quarters. I thought we were going to catch up. We are not. Demand is increasing. It is not increasing in just one place. It is increasing across many places. We're seeing usage increases in products. We are seeing new products launch that are getting increasing usage, and increasing usage very quickly. When people see real value, they actually commit real usage. And I sometimes think this is where this cycle needs to be thought through completely, is that, when you see these kind of demand signals and we know we're behind, we do need to spend. But we're spending with a different amount of confidence in usage patterns and in bookings, and I feel very good about that. I have said we are now likely to be short capacity to serve the most important things we need to do, which is Azure, our first-party applications. We need to invest in product R&D, and we're doing end-of-life replacements in the fleet. So we're going to spend to make sure that happens. It's about modernization, it's about high quality, it's about service delivery, and it's about meeting demand. And so I feel good about doing that, and I feel good that we've been able to do it so efficiently and with a growing book of business behind it.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to what Amy captured was, if you sort of look out, there are two things that matter, I think, and that are critical in terms of how we think about our allocation of capital, also our R&D. One is, how efficient is our planet-scale token factory, right? I mean, that's at the end of the day what you have to do. And in order to do that, you have to start with building out a very fungible fleet. It's not like we're building one data center in one region in the world that's mega scale. We're building it out across the globe for inference, for pre-training, for post-training, for RL, for data synth, what have you. So therefore, the fungibility is super important. The second thing that we're also doing is continually modernizing the fleet. It's not like we buy one version of, say, NVIDIA and load up for all the gigawatts we have. Each year you buy, you ride the Moore's Law, you continuously modernize and depreciate it. And that means you also use software to grow efficiency. I talked about, I think, 30% improvement on both serving up GPT-4.1 and 5.0, right? That's software. That's sort of, and by the way, it's helpful on A100s. It's helpful on GB200s, and it'll be helpful on GB300s. That's the beauty of having the efficiency of the fleet. So keep improving utilization, keep improving the efficiency. So that's what you do in the token factory. The other aspect, which Amy spoke to, is we have some of the best agent systems that matter in the high-value domains, right? It's in information work. That's the Copilot system. Coding. I should also say one of the things I like about Copilot is, Copilot ARPUs compared to M365 ARPUs, right? It's expansive. The same thing that happened between server and cloud, like we used to always say, well, is it zero sum? It turned out that the cloud was so much more expansive to the server market. The same thing is happening in AI, because first you could say, hey, our ARPUs are too low when it comes to M365, or you could say we have the opportunity with AI to be much more expansive. Same thing with tools, right? Tools business was not like a leading business, whereas coding business is going to be one of the most expansive AI systems. And so we feel very good about being in that category. Same thing with security, same thing with health. So we have, and in consumer, one of the things is it's not just about ads, it's ads plus subscriptions. That also opens up opportunity for us. So when I look at the entirety of these high-value agent systems, and when we look at the efficiency of and fungibility of our fleet, that's what gives us the confidence to invest both the capital and the R&D talent to go after this opportunity.
That was pretty amazing. I really appreciate all the detail.
Thanks, Mark. Operator, next question, please.
The next question comes from the line of Karl Keirstead with UBS. Please proceed.
Okay, thank you. This one is for Amy. Amy, I certainly don't want to take you down a too complex an accounting path with this question, but the investment in OpenAI that sits in other income at $4.1 billion is so large that I think the audience listening in could benefit from a little bit more color about what that is. It feels like it's so much larger than you were running through other income in prior quarters that it mustn't just be your share of the OpenAI losses. So could you just describe that and what we can expect in subsequent quarters and whether this signals any kind of accounting change? Thanks so much.
The Q1 number was not impacted at all by the new agreement that was put in place. Let me first say that. Secondly, that increased loss was all due to our percentage of losses in OpenAI to the equity method. So just to be very clear. So there is not anything there that is not the increased losses from OpenAI.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Thanks, Karl.
Thanks, Karl. Operator, next question, please.
The next question comes from the line of Mark Murphy with JP Morgan. Please proceed.
Thank you so much. So we seem to be entering into a new era where the contractual commitments from a small number of AI natives are just incredibly large, not only in absolute terms, but sometimes relative to the size of the companies themselves. For instance, contracts worth hundreds of billions of dollars that are 20 times their current revenue scale. Philosophically, how do you evaluate the ability of those companies to follow through on these commitments? And how do you think about placing guardrails on customer concentration for any single entity?
Yeah, maybe I'll start and then maybe you can add. It goes back a little bit, Mark, to what I said about building first the asset itself such that it's most fungible. And then to recognize the strength of even sort of our portfolio. We have a third-party business. We have a first-party business. We have third-party also spread between enterprise, digital natives. I always felt that we need a balance there because it may start with digital natives. They're always going to be the early adopters. You always have the hit app of the generation. And then essentially then it spreads throughout. The enterprise adoption cycle is just starting. And so therefore having the over the arc of time, I think that third-party balance of customers will only increase. But it's great to have the hit first-party apps in the beginning because you can build scale that then if it's a fungible, and that's where the key is. You don't want to build for a digital native as if you're just doing hosting for them. You want to build. That's where I think some of the decision making of ours is probably getting better understood. What do we say yes to? What do we say no to? I think there was a lot of confusion. Hopefully by now, anyone who's switched on would figure this out. And so that's, I think, one thing we're doing on the third party. But the first party is probably where a lot of our leverage comes. And it's not even about one hit app on our first party even. Our portfolio of stuff, which I just walked through in the earlier answer, gives us, again, the confidence that between that mix, we will be able to use our fleet to the maximum. And remember, these assets, especially the data centers and so on, are long assets, right? There will be many refresh cycles for any one of these when it comes to the gear. So I feel that, once you think about all those dimensions, the concentration risk gets, mitigated by being thoughtful about how you really ensure the build is for the broad customer base.
And maybe just to help with another angle of that, because I think Satya's helped a lot, is that, when you think about concentration risk or delivering to any customer, you have to remember that because we're talking about this very large flexible fleet that can be used for anyone and for any purpose, 1P, 3P, and including our commercial cloud, by the way, which I should be quite clear on, it is pretty flexible in every regard. You have to remember that the CPU and GPU and the storage gear doesn't come into play until the contracts start happening. And so you're right, some of these large contracts have delivery dates over time. So you get a lot of lead time in being able to say, oh, what's the status? And so I think we're pretty thoughtful around what's always gone in our RPO balance and been considerate of that. There's always been that taken into account when we publish that bookings number and publish the RPO balance.
I just put a new poll in the chat. Have a look and vote.
Thanks, Mark. Operator, next question, please.
The next question comes from the line of Brad Zelnick with Deutsche Bank. Please proceed.
Great. Thanks so much for taking the question, and I'll echo my congrats on an amazing start to the year. Amy, is there any way to quantify or frame the revenue impact of Azure being short on capacity? And while I appreciate the constraints you face are broad across the industry, is there risk of workloads going elsewhere, and how do you mitigate that?
Yeah, Brad, it's a great question. It's always hard to quantify precisely what would have been the revenue impact in quarter. But I would offer a way to think about it is, Azure probably does bear most of the revenue impact. Because when you think about real priorities that you have to fill first, it's obviously the increasing usage and adoption and sales we've seen of M365 Copilot and the usage of Copilot Chat, which we've seen very different patterns, which we're encouraged by. It's the adoption of security features. It's the GitHub momentum. And so when you're thinking about it, that is where, and it is a priority for us to allocate resourcing there first. And so you're all right to ask, how do I think about that? We've worked very hard to try to mitigate it as best we can, but we have been short in Azure, and we've been clear on it. And I would say the other two priorities that I haven't mentioned maybe as much before is also just making sure our product teams and the AI talent that we've been able to hire into the company really over the past year and a half have access also to significant capacity because we're seeing it make the product better in a loop that is adding great benefit today into products people are using today for real-world work. And so we are making that a priority to make sure our research teams have that as well as our product engineering teams. And yes, it does impact Azure directly, that is the place where you see that prioritization. But I think it's probably hard for me to give an exact number, but it is safe to say that the number could be higher.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Brad. Operator, we have time for one last question.
The last question will come from the line of Kash Rangan with Goldman Sachs. Please proceed.
Thank you very much. Amy, I just wanted to congratulate you. I think you said before that it is possible to accelerate Azure growth while getting efficient margins, and you've done it. Congrats on that. I have one for you, Satya. With respect to the elephant in the room, following just being a little more direct, following up on Keith Weiss's question, there's talk that another hyperscaler came in and took away the business that was rightfully Microsoft's. I'm sure that there is a different point of view here. I'm wondering if you could offer some perspective on your criteria to, is it about a certain volume of business that you wish to execute on the Microsoft paper, or is it something broader than that I don't think maybe people fully appreciate the terminal value that Microsoft will have on its balance sheet at the end of these contracts, which I think is probably being underestimated as you have the full stack and you've got the multiple vectors to monetize, be it databases, Foundry, and to your point that you are a platform company, not just a hyperscaler. Maybe that's what it is all about, or maybe there's another story about you letting the other hyperscaler company come in from nowhere and claiming a big piece of that 4 to 5 year puzzle. Thank you so much once again. Really appreciate it, and congratulations.
Well, thanks, Kash. I mean, for us, again, it just always goes back to, I think, the core principle, which is build a fleet that is fungible across the planet and works for third party and first party and research. So that's essentially what we have done. And so when some demand comes in shapes that don't fit that goal, where it's too concentrated, not just by customer, by location, by type of skewing, right? I think Amy mentioned some very key things. When you think about the margin profile of a hyperscaler, you've got to remember this, the AI accelerator piece, but there's compute, there's storage. And if all of the demand just comes for just 1 meter, that's really not a long-term business we want to be in. That's even from a third party. We have to balance it with all of our first party stuff because that's, after all, a different margin stack for us. And then we have to fund our own R&D and model capability because in the long run, that's what's going to differentiate us. And so I look at all of those. We sort of use all of that to make sure we are saying yes to all the demand that we want. We say no to some of the demand that may be something that we could serve, but is not in our long-term interest. And so that's sort of the decision-making we've done. And we feel very, very good about the decisions. In some sense, I feel even each time we say no to, the day after, I feel better.
And Kash, maybe just yeah. And just Kash, I think this is our last call with you, and I just want to say thanks and congratulations. It's been a privilege to work with you, and best of luck.
Let me add to that. Best of luck, Kash.
Thanks. Thank you so much. Very kind.
Don't go anywhere. We'll wrap it up.
Thanks, Kash. That wraps up the Q&A portion of today's earnings call. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to speaking with all of you soon.
Thank you all.
Thank you. This concludes today's conference. You may disconnect your lines at this time.
Don't go anywhere. We're going to wrap it up. So what do you think? To me, it's a solid buy. It's a solid buy. I mean, the numbers are good. It's a solid business. The guidance was good in my eyes. Looking at the chart, this sell-off, when I said buy at this sell-off, I didn't buy, but I was, if I had any money. And I'm considering on Friday midnight, Thursday midnight, I'm getting paid. It's my payday on Friday, and I might be buying Microsoft. In the chat, we have a new poll. Vote there. I will leave it open for another 10-15 seconds. I want to see your opinion. I want to see how The opinion has changed. The previous one, we had 51% buy. I want to see how you are listening and how the guidance was good. Trump is in China. Yes, I was trying to find some info. I was trying to find a conference, if there's any conference before that, but I can't find it. The meeting is in about 4 hours, as far as I know, or 3.5 hours, but the meeting will not be covered live. That will be behind the closed door. There'll be conference after. No doubt there'll be conference after, but I don't know when, and I'm not staying up all night just to bring you the conference. I'll be looking out if there's any conference before that. In next couple of hours, I will try to cover it for you, but I doubt it. I think there'll be one after. That'll be in the morning. More than likely, that could be on Sensei's show. So, speaking of Sensei, you have last few minutes. Those who are not subscribed to our newsletter, you have last few minutes of the flash sale. And tomorrow, why I'm saying this? Because tomorrow you're gonna get the full package. You're gonna get the full package from Sensei. Tomorrow morning, you will get your analysis of what you heard today, what happened today, the Fed rate cut, the Fed guidance. You're gonna hear impact of. You're gonna hear in the newsletter. You're gonna see Microsoft, Meta, and Google earnings. You will see the impact on the market, and you will see preview for tomorrow night. Amazon, Apple, Coinbase, and MicroStrategy is there for you for free for a 7-day trial. But if you want to jump the gun, if you want to jump the queue and buy it for 50% flash sale, it's there for you. Last few minutes of the deal. So I'm going to give you a link in the chat. Again, I'll give you a link in the chat. I will close the poll. So last votes, you can cast your last votes. There is a link to the newsletter flash sale. It is about what, $55 a year? That's not even $5 a month. Shall I keep dividing? $5 a month, 30 days a month on average, $5, that's about 13 cents a day. 13 cents a day, and you have the full package. You have the full package of your top stories. You have one big thing for the day. You have deep analysis, market snapshots. At the bottom of the newsletter, you have earnings, invitation to earnings. You have chart of the day. See, Microsoft. You could have had this Microsoft chart of the day by Sensei. I'm not showing it to you. You go and check it out. Check it out in the newsletter. But I was going to show you. Sensei's got a calendar as well. On the radar, key data, earnings, and events this week. So if you don't want to miss anything, again, it's in Sensei's newsletter every day. It's updated daily. And then you will get one on Saturday as well. And on Saturday, I'm talking, you know what time it is? On Saturday, it's time to start talking eVTOLs. I'm talking about this new technology. We think this will be a massive market. This will be a multi-billion-dollar market. Flying taxis, as they are called. Think of new electric vehicles. Think of new Tesla. This is great investment opportunity. We believe this is great investment opportunity. We are bringing a lot of exclusive content. We are engaging with these companies on our channel. I am engaging. I'm going on the ground. I'm talking to the people in the businesses. We are bringing you a lot of exclusive content, especially on vertical aerospace. We are exclusively bringing you weekly updates. Nobody else brings you update on vertical aerospace, and a lot of, I don't want to say behind the closed door events and information, but we are quite ahead of the others. So that's your Saturday newsletter as well. Saturday, I'm doing one for Saturday. Sensei is doing one daily, couple of hours in your email inbox. Couple of hours before the market open, you will get the full package, the full forecast for the day. And then on Saturday, you get one talking about the flying taxis, the eVTOLs. That's it from me. Thank you very much for joining me. Great audience, great earnings report. I will close the poll. So 5, 4, 3. Whoops, I closed it early. So what are you saying? Now that's a shift. Now that's a shift. From 51%, we are 73% buy, 10% hold, 10% undecided, and 7% sell. Let's quickly catch up with the chat. If we have any more questions, any comments, then we're going to wrap it up. I'll be looking out for Donald Trump if he's having any public appearance. If he's got any public appearance, but in the next couple of hours. But if he doesn't, look out for Sensei tomorrow morning. iPro for execs. These people talk too much. They need to stick to points. I think this was great earnings call. One, the audio quality was good. The structure was very good. Presentation was a bit mediocre, the PowerPoint, but I think it was one of the better calls. You should. What is? I mean, we've had some peculiar earnings calls on the show. I think this was one of the better ones. Adam James, thoughts about where we go overnight and into tomorrow? I'll be waiting for the China USA tariff situation. If we get some good news, the whole market can skyrocket. Cedar Tree says it can go higher. I agree, Cedar Tree. I will wait till Friday and I might buy in as well myself. Is this good news, Cedar Tree? It all sounds bullish to me. Yes, exactly. Adam James, it does. The one-day chart shows some daily gaps up. Stocks like to fill gaps. I agree. Vaz, you rock, man. Good job. Thanks for covering this. Thank you, David Hensley, and thank you everyone for joining. Great audience. As I said again, we just hit 100 likes, so I can't be any happier. The crack with likes is once a video hits 100 likes, YouTube start pushing it out much harder. So that's why I told you in the beginning of the video, of the event, not video, the beginning of the event. The more we can promote this, the more people can come together, the more feel we can get for the market sentiment, the more investor experience we can share. I was watching the conversations. You had Cedar Tree and Adam James and others. And I think we have learned a lot. I have learned myself as well. You had great engagement. I love it. This is what this channel is about. Gathering people together. I mean, you can listen to the earnings yourselves. You can put it in your earbuds and just listen to it and fall asleep doing it. But this is the exclusive experience. You have the group of people talking together, mostly the same people meeting each other every day. And this is great. We are a great community in here, and I have learned a lot listening to your chat comments. Sichu93, for your information, a lot also writes on Trump-Xi meeting tonight. Yes, definitely. It might pump back up overnight, or it might crash. Definitely looking out for update. Sorry, I can't read your name. Of course, by David Hensley. Yes, that is the Trump thing with China. Yeah, I'm trying to look out for more updates. If there's anything happening in next 2 hours, I'll go live and cover it. So keep your eyes peeled. iPro says it's just not as liked on the market, so people buy Tesla, but skip this even though the numbers are better. Yeah, Tesla is definitely the sexy stock, isn't it? Tesla rocks. Please use browser to install your TradingView as PWA. It is really annoying to see as a browser tab. Yes, thank you for that. I'm working on different method how to project my charts. I'm using OBS, and OBS doesn't like embedding TradingView stuff. Yeah, thanks for the suggestion. I will PWA. I will have a look, but I'm working on something better. But yeah, I agree. I hate it. I hate when I open TradingView. It's not been doing it recently, but when I open it, there always are some pop-up windows, and I agree. I completely agree. Thank you. Good point. PWA. I will have a look. Thank you, Vas, for the show. See the trees. Last few minutes of the flash sale. Adam James, iPro, the market is ridiculous. Tesla earnings and report cards are garbage every time, and yet rockets daily. Yeah, I agree. The free version was, the paid version is way better. Yeah, I got a newsletter today with a discount. I was saving to get the $250 one, so I can get all the other extra perks, but I took the deal today. Well, congratulations, David. Gerenciamiento, Microsoft. I'm not following tags. I'm not following. Can you explain, please? Are you just spamming? Jenny says, great job. Well, Jenny, hopefully you were happy with your experience. That was your event. You locked it in. Good suggestion. Good suggestion. I liked it. Thoughts on Amazon earnings? I already said. It all will depend on the. Look, this is the stupid pop-up window. Yeah, I'll have a look at the PWA version. It will all depend on the Trump-Xi situation developing tonight. If we have good news, if we have good positive outcome, I think we will be tomorrow through the day. We'll be testing the 240 resistance again from the previous. That's not the right chart. From the previous months. So I could see we'll be testing 240 again if we have some good outcome. We had a good run in past couple of weeks. So that could be happening tomorrow through the day. And the earnings, you never know. If we have good earnings, we'll definitely, I think we have a good chance, not definitely, but I think we have a good chance to break through 240 tomorrow. If everything clicks together. Again, this is not financial advice. I would not be trading around the earnings unless you have some backhand information, or unless you know the company in and out. It's very, very risky, very, very volatile. You could see it today on Microsoft. You had actually two sell-offs, and let's see what it's doing. What it's doing tomorrow. Meta is flat. You can see sell-off on Meta, and it took a big hit. Google, on the other hand, looks very good, and it could run tomorrow very nicely. The S&P going sideways now. We had a slight sell-off, and now it's going sideways. So again, it's probably pricing the Trump-Xi meeting. Are you stream Trump and China meeting? I would love to, but I can't. I live in the UK. It's 1 hour before midnight to me, and I'm waking up 5 o'clock, probably 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. So I would have to be up all night, and I'm going to work. So yeah, sorry, I can't. But if there's anything in next couple of hours or next hour and a half related, I'll cover this live. I'll bring it to you live. David Hensley says, we have a great and dedicated audience. Yes, I agree. Gerenciamiento, I have no idea what you are throwing at me. I can see some ticker symbols. I don't know why you are using hashtags and dollar signs. And sorry, you need to speak in English or Czech alternatively. Because I'm Czech. Sorry, I don't speak Spanish. Zach, good hood woo. Yes, we could see a good green day tomorrow, all depending on Trump. So tomorrow, Sensei in the morning. Then we have earnings. For you. Tomorrow morning, we have, not this one, we have tomorrow morning. In the morning, Shell, Eli Lilly, MasterCard, Roadblocks, whatever. If you want, Altria as well, Marlboro, tobacco industry. If you want to lock in your earnings for tomorrow, you can still do a $10 super chat. If you are a member, do a $10 super chat. You still have your chance. In the afternoon, Amazon, Apple, Coinbase, MicroStrategy, and much more. Again, I'm not telling you which one we are going to cover. It will be surprise. If you are interested in any particular company, any particular stock, you can lock it in. It might be only me. It might be me and Sensei live tomorrow as well. Depending on you. All depending on you. Otherwise we will surprise you. It will be a little not Happy Meal. Happy Meal that doesn't. Yes, Happy Meal. It will be a little Happy Meal. You have your burger or chicken nuggets, but you don't know what toy is in. So there we go. That could be your surprise. So we've got RPG Anthony WC. I just joined. So has Microsoft announced a stock split yet? No, they haven't. We were no, we didn't hear anything. I don't speak English, teacher, excuse me. That's fine. Don't worry about it. You can still join us. You can still engage in the chat. You can use Google Translate. You can use ChatGPT to translate your comments. So yeah, more than welcome. Well, as long as we are respectful in the chat, don't worry about it. Yeah, they didn't say anything about the stock split. Okay, that's it from me. I will see you tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening on one of the earnings calls. I'm not telling you which one. And tomorrow morning, Sensei, with a full analysis and full forecast for tomorrow. That's it from me. Thank you very much for joining me. Take care of yourselves and each other.